early to let Auburn have a chance to throw one in.
Last week, Nashak won it for Tennessee.
It's going to be that kind of week, huh?
No. Don't even speak that.
Championship week, and we can't even get the computer to play right. But that's okay. We're here. Hope everybody's doing well on this Monday. Pat, Landrum, Conrad, Molly, the whole gang here for the next 4 hours. It was an exciting week to the beginning of championship week and the end of the regular season for the Southeastern Conference. And, man, 93-91 overtime win by the Alabama Crimson Tide over the Auburn Tigers in a very difficult place to play. We will get into all that today. I'd love to hear from you. 1-800-239-WJOX, 205-834-9450. Your immediate reactions, Landrum, to the results of what we saw in one of the greatest games in IBOB history.
Yeah, it was. And just what you hope for if you were a casual basketball watcher, if you tuned in on Saturday to the game inside of Neville Arena. I thought that Alabama absolutely brought the intensity that they needed to bring. Nate Oates, he was imploring them to come out and play with a lot of energy. I thought Alabama did that. Grant Nelson stepping up when Grant Nelson needed to step up. He did that on Saturday. And then Mark Sears, while I think Auburn did a pretty good job defensively on him, you got to account for him at the end of the game. And Mark Sears comes up with a clutch bucket, and it came at a big time, and it won them the basketball game. But no, kudos to Alabama, and for the matchup overall, I think that TV got exactly what they wanted.
There's no doubt about it. Dickie V got exactly what he wanted to be on site. Mark Sears, 9 points, but his last two won it for Alabama in overtime. He also had a game-high 7 assists. No turnovers for Mark Sears against Auburn. This is the way it sounded on ESPN.
One early to let Auburn have a chance to throw one in.
Last week, Nashak won it for Tennessee. Is someone doing it today?
Here goes
Sears! Sears on the road with the winner for Alabama, and they get the revenge they wanted. Crimson Cranes in front of the jungle.
There you have it. That's the way it's centered on ESPN. Janai Broome, just an incredible afternoon for the Auburn Tigers. 34 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, 4 blocks. I guess really, Landrum, the only thing that, it's not being critical of Janai Broome, but really, to me, the only thing he really did wrong was miss that end of regulation kind of turnaround jump shot. I was a little surprised he didn't take it to the rim, but
yeah,
man, he had a career day. And for America watching that game, it goes without saying, I think Duke's going to be the number 1 team in America when the AP and the coaches poll comes out later, which means absolutely nothing because Auburn's resume will still have them firmly as the number 1 seed in the NCAA tournament as of today. But Janai Broome doing what he did against Alabama on national TV in front of a captivated audience of how, once again, anybody would want to vote for anybody else, but Janai Broome just absolutely amazes me.
Yeah, 15 of 28, that's pretty solid. Could have used a couple more free throws there at the end, but Alabama and Auburn, neither one of those teams was stellar from the free throw line on Saturday. But yeah, Janai Broome getting into the range of points that we seldom see with a Janai Broome, just because Auburn, they can hit you in so many ways. But it was an emphasis. They were going to go to Janai Broome. They were going to try to play that game. It worked, but Janai Broome needed more help, and he needed more help from guys like Chad Baker-Mazara, who did not play the final 11 minutes of regulation because, once again, Chad Baker-Mazara could not control his emotions.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be something that I know a lot of people were upset about, and going back to last March, and we all remember what happened in the game against Yale, and now you come here and his little spat with Youngblood carrying over from the first matchup a little bit, it looks like, but you just can't have that. You can't be throwing elbows. That's going to be called if somebody sees it, and maybe you thought you could get away with it, but Auburn's definitely a better team when he's on the floor for them, and I would imagine that that's going to be a point of emphasis for them moving forward is, hey, man, you're the oldest player on this team. You need to start acting like it and, being a leader for these younger guys. And, we need you out there on the court, and you don't want your season to fall short yet again because of somebody that can't control their emotions. But I just thought for Alabama, it was such an incredible game. And Grant Nelson clearly listens to the show. We appreciate that. Grant, how are you doing on this Monday? Because there were a lot of criticisms going around for him, and I think rightfully so with the way that he's played a lot of the times this year. But when Alabama needed it most, he stepped up, and you hope that this is a precursor to what you're going to get in the NCAA tournament, just like last year.
So Nick Kelly, who covers Alabama for AL.com, he joined us on the show last Tuesday. Listen to the question, listen to his answer.
Give me one player not named Mark Sears that Alabama vitally needs to step up his game if they want to have a run like they did last year.
Yeah, it's simple. It's Grant Nelson. I think for him, we've seen what he's capable of doing. Just look at UNC last year. And he can take over games. I mean, he is capable of that. Now, he has dealt with some injuries. He's been a little banged up, so that impacts some things. But he's got to remember he's good enough to take over games and make sure he's in that headspace. Because when he's rolling, I mean, Grant's tough to stop. I mean, he's been hustling, so give him credit. Like, he's been winning blue-collar points in a lot of games that he hasn't necessarily put up big offensive numbers. So the hustle's there. It's just can he be that dominating player? Because to me, when he's on, I mean, he's so tough to stop. Mark Sears is obviously very tough to stop when he's on because he can hit threes. But when Grant Nelson's on, again, we saw what he did against UNC. We've seen it in other games too. So Grant Nelson, to me, is the key. Nate's talked about it. Nate's hinted at it. So what Grant Nelson does, I think, is going to be indicative of what this team can do in the NCAA tournament.
How about Nick Kelly, Nostradamus, making that prediction last Tuesday? Comes out, 23 points, 8 rebounds. You had Amori, Philon, both scored 15 points each. Amori added 8 rebounds, so Amori had some throwdowns big towards the second half for Alabama. So Bama gets out of there with the overtime win. As I mentioned before, Landrum, I mean, Auburn is not moving off that one line. Auburn is not, in my opinion, in any jeopardy of not being the overall number 1 seed, because whoever Duke beats up in the ACC tournament really doesn't matter because that league sucks. It's terrible. Yeah. So it really doesn't matter. I mean, Auburn has got the cachet. They've got the resume. So Hayes in the barn, in my opinion.
Yeah, if you're first of all, if you're Nate Oates, I think that you absolutely had to have this to have that shot of energy, that confidence back into your team heading into tournament play, whether it be in Nashville or beyond. For Auburn, it's never a good time to lose, but losing 2 games in 1 week, going on the road and losing like you did the Texas A&M, coming back and having a spirited effort, losing at home, and the first time you've done that in how long? It's been forever. As far as the last regular season game for Bruce Pearl, maybe it's a good thing. And just saying, no, it wasn't a one-off. It was actually a 2-off. And we have to maybe get back to what got us to the point prior to this last week. I'm not saying that the season is coming to an end for Auburn, but maybe Bruce Pearl can use this as a motivator.
I was about to say, you almost feel bad for whoever Auburn's going to have to play in Nashville, because that was something we had talked about in the past few weeks, right? Is, well, what happens if you get to Nashville? You know, you've been on this great streak of your regular season. Do you rest some guys? I think we had that question answered for ourselves, right? Because Bruce Pearl's going to make sure that his team is ready to go and knows, hey, we may have been the best team in the country this year, but we still got some things to clean up. And I would imagine that you're going to see a pretty ticked off Auburn team in Nashville starting on Friday.
So Alabama, 52 points in the paint. That was the most Auburn has given up all season long. Tide finished +8 in rebounding, +12 points in the paint. Alabama also made 5 more free throws than Auburn. Let's hear Nate Oates after the game as Alabama gets the overtime victory.
I know the game wasn't meaningful as far as SEC regular season championship results or any of that, but looked to me like they were trying to get the win. They brought their best guys. They didn't sit Denver. Broome was obviously playing well. He kind of killed us with 34 and 8, hit some big shots. So, we went against them on their senior night, and I think we showed what we're capable of being moving forward. So couldn't be more proud of a group of guys. Nobody in the country's gone anything close to the 7-game stretch. We had to close the year to come up with a win against the number 1 team on their home floor. Happens to be our arch rival to close it out. After the adversity we faced, we could have easily folded. We had the tough loss at Tennessee. Florida game, we didn't look great. Bounce back and come in here like we did, and things didn't go perfect. I mean, shoot, the points off turnovers was 20-10 them. We had 15 turnovers. We got to do a better job on some things, but just kind of challenge these guys. Let's be the hardest playing team, toughest team, most together. No matter what happens, things won't be perfect. Just stick together and keep playing hard. And thought that's what they did. I mean, Grant obviously had a really good game. Was aggressive early. Mark, they were going to make sure he didn't get anything easy. They did a good job on him defensively, but he stuck in there. attitude was great, play hard for us on defense, got 7 assists and only 1 turnover. And then when we needed him late, he came through and delivered, bailed me out because that play design wasn't all that great, to be honest with you. So the thing that was great about it was in a pretty good player's hands. So,
yeah, look, everything that Nate Oates just said, yeah, you could tell it wasn't like Auburn was going out there and they were going to play with a 75% squad or a skeleton squad. That meant a lot, and it meant a lot to the fans inside of Neville Arena. For Nate Oates, I think that the way that it worked out as far as standings, and we know that they'll have a big crowd that travels to Nashville, but Alabama potentially hosting a Kentucky on Friday, potentially hosting if it's Georgia or Oklahoma somehow that gets to that spot. I think that collection of teams, Alabama, they match up really, really well with them. And evidence of that is what you saw during the regular season, as opposed to potentially taking on you throw out some of those other teams that are there in that first and second day field.
Bruce Pearl also, after the game, pointed something out, statistically speaking, about Janai Broome during the game.
Janai Broome took 15 or 16 of his first shots inside the paint and did not get fouled once. And I have an issue with that. He could be the National Player of the Year, and he took 15 or 16 shots from 2 and didn't shoot a free throw. That's hard to overcome.
Yeah, Bruce Pearl also went on talking in the postgame about how Alabama, being the kind of team they are, how they like to get that offense downhill as much as possible, and they get a lot more benefit of the doubt calls in regards to the way that they go to the rim as other teams do.
Well, that's also the game plan they had for Alabama, right? Is don't let them shoot 3-pointers, make them make tough 2-pointers, and if you're going to do that, you're going to draw contact and you're going to get foul calls. So, I guess that would just be my response to that is, yeah, they do. They play a physical style of basketball, and if you're going to ask them to attack you in the paint and attack you at the rim, then that's going to come with some foul shots.
So Auburn falls to 15-4 in quad 1 games because they had lost that 16th quad 1 game because the way the net works each and every day it changes. So they're 15-4 in quad 1 games. The Tide earned their 10th quad 1 win. So Alabama also captures its 10th win over an AP top 25 opponent this season. That's impressive. The Crimson Tide won its 4th game this year against an AP top 10 opponent. Also very impressive. And how about LeBaron Philon became the first Alabama freshman since Colin Sexton to post 100 field goals, 100 rebounds, and 100 assists in a single season.
Well, and how cool was it at the end of the game? And I mean, clearly it worked out in Alabama's favor when Philon picked his pocket and got the easy 2 off of Pettiford there in overtime. But, for as big as this game was and as great as Mark Sears and Janai Broome and all of these guys are, to have 2 freshmen in those big moments.
They could have been teammates.
Going back, that could have been teammates at one point. Or Philon could have been in Kansas right now. But just to see them going at it in such a big moment in a big environment, you have all of these experienced players, and here are these 2 18, 19-year-olds going at it back and forth down the court. That was really, really cool to see. And Pettiford was awesome.
Yeah, he certainly was. But that Philon is sitting there going, man, I really dodged a bullet on that Kansas deal.
Yeah. They got a win over the weekend.
Yeah, they did. So Alabama gets the big win in overtime, 93-91, to close out the regular season. And as Landrum just brought up a few minutes ago, the bracket is now set. And so Alabama doesn't play until Friday. Likewise, neither does Auburn. Auburn's got the first game on Friday.
Yeah, and for Auburn, like Conrad said, maybe you see them come out, and this is a team that's playing with their hair on fire just a little bit. I don't know if things have changed for Bruce Pearl. I don't think we're going to get that from Bruce Pearl, even if they have, with how he was planning to attack the SEC tournament. But you want confidence for your guys going in. Alabama got that shot in the arm for Nate Oates, drawing Kentucky potentially as your first matchup coming on Friday, and then getting a shot to potentially avenge the loss to Florida on a neutral floor. I think it sets up well for Alabama. Maybe we get 3 spirited days of basketball from the Tide, and they're able to bring a banner home from Nashville.
Well, there was a lot of other storylines inside the game on Saturday. When we come back on 3-Man Front, we'll go down that road in regards to what happened to Baker Mazzara, some of the things that some of the scribes that cover Alabama and Auburn, what they had to say about Baker Mazzara and his antics during the game. We'll get into all of that, plus our Twitter poll question of the day. This is Reaction Monday on Jocks 94.5. Phone lines are open, 1-800-239-WJOX. Your thoughts on the IBOB Part 2 overtime win by Alabama. Also, the Courtesy GMC text line is open, 205-834-9450.
Well, for flu, pollen, and allergy season, keep your home cleaner with Trane's Clean Effects Home Air Cleaner. It removes up to 99.9% of airborne particles, including those contributing to allergy and virus, is proven to be more effective than standard and HEPA room filters. So contact a Trane certified dealer for the Clean Effects Air Cleaner.
So there was a lot of storylines inside the game. Hey, Conrad, let's throw an audible here. Let's do two. So this kind of got everybody kind of fired up and going in the game. This is the way it sounded on the Auburn Network if you're listening to Jocks 94.5 on Saturday.
Dunks it and gets fouled on the play. And then Nelson taunts Auburn. That's got to be a technical foul. He posed underneath the basket. How is that not taunting? How is that not taunting? He posed underneath the basket after the play. I think they're going to take a look at that. You better take a look at that.
That's the way it sounded on Jocks 94.5 on Saturday. I'll be honest with you. I was shocked that they did not give him a taunting.
I was too. I was reading the I was trying to read the lips of the official when he was going over to give Bruce Pearl
the
explanation. And Pearl kept doing.
And Pearl kept saying it's taunting.
Kept going, that's taunting. That's got to be taunting. And then the official said something, and then Pearl's like, how can you not know what that is? So it was like the official was saying, well, I'm not up to date on this whole Crane thing. Like, how long has this been going on?
I mean,
I don't even know what it means. I thought it was an Alabama thing.
As an official, do you really need to know the definition? I mean, if you do that underneath the goal,
it just looked like that was the explanation that he was giving to Bruce Pearl.
I agree.
And Pearl's like, well, I don't have time to take you through it all, but there's a storyline here and it's multiple sports.
Well, Bruce Pearl did it better when he did it in Coleman after they beat Alabama. So the fact that he was kind of like half-assing it, I was like, come on, Bruce, we know you know how to do it.
Oh, Conrad.
Yeah, Grant Nelson, he got fired up during the game, which is good. That they need spirited play from Grant Nelson moving forward. But yeah, that was a little bit surprising. Chris Youngblood, give him credit. Give that guy credit.
He got beat up pretty good.
He did get beat up pretty good, but
he knows how to get under your skin.
He does know how to get under the skin, and he knows how to get away with those cheap shots without the officials catching it. And that is something that Chad Baker, there's an art to it, Chad. There's an art.
Mm-hmm.
You need to learn that before we get into tournament play.
No elbows.
Nope.
Or at least to the head.
The eye in the sky is always
maybe
watching.
in the ribs or something. But.
The eye in the sky is always watching.
I was about to say.
And they're reviewing every play that you're a part of.
I was about to say, a lot of the angles didn't look that bad, but then the aerial view, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, that was kind of rough.
All right, so let's take a listen. This is the way it sounded on the Auburn Network when this controversial call that absolutely kicked Mazzara out of the game in the final 10 minutes.
Did they call a flagrant 2? Did they call a flagrant 2 on Chad? If they did, he's kicked out of the game. He is ejected. They just kicked Chad Baker Mazzara out of the game. After further review, we have a flagrant 2 foul. Wow. Therefore, he's been ejected. Holy cow. So Chad Baker Mazzara is kicked out of the game at the 10:52 mark.
That was big.
And he should have been. It should have been an F2. You do that to another area of the body besides the head.
Yeah.
You probably just get an F1. But F2, as soon as they showed it to the head, there was no doubt with the people group that I was watching with. He's got to be gone. He should have been gone. That was dumb.
Mm-hmm.
7 points, and you miss one of your better defenders the final 10 minutes of the game plus overtime. So,
well, I mean, credit to Auburn, the fact that, I mean, it came down to a buzzer beater without him, that you were still able to almost win that basketball game. But you're just sitting there wondering, man, if we had him, maybe we're worth one more bucket and we win that game.
So needless to say, a lot of people had a lot of interesting things to say on social media and all sorts of fun websites over the weekend. Let's start with Kevin Skarbinski, friend of the program, longtime columnist of the AL.com, Birmingham News. He tweeted out, Chad Baker-Mazara should apologize to every single one of his Auburn teammates. Second straight year he wasn't there for them all the way to the wire in a big game in March, though it's no one's fault but his own. AL.com's Joseph Goodman wrote under the heading, Is Auburn too dirty to win the national championship? A portion of his article says he blew it for the Tigers in the NCAA tournament last season, and this time he goes into the postseason writing an ejection in the regular season finale against Alabama. Love the guy, but maybe at some point he should start wearing elbow pads if he's going to continue taking cheap shots under the rim at the heads of the opponents. Longtime Auburn beat writer and columnist for Auburn Undercover, Philip Marshall, he had a different spin to the incident. Says no excuse for Baker-Mazara, but officials played a part. And no way do I excuse that Chad Baker-Mazara that he should not be thrown out of Saturday's game. But the SEC has an officiating problem that goes far beyond too many reviews. On one play, Baker-Mazara was knocked all the way out of bounds and to the floor. Nothing was called. On another, Chris Youngblood elbowed Baker-Mazara in the gut and nothing was called. When the officials let those go, he finally took matters into his own hands and he retaliated. That was a mistake and a bad one. He knows how important he is to the team. But if the officials had called what was plain and obvious earlier, I seriously doubt the flagrant 2 would have happened. If they're going to watch Baker-Mazara closely, so be it, but that ought not to include ignoring when he is on the receiving end.
Yeah, I agree with some of what Philip wrote there. As far as the overall problem with SEC basketball officials or officiating in the SEC, I don't know if I'm going to go to that length. I think that while it's not always great, you go around to other leagues and it's not like they have superior officiating. There's controversy in a lot of games across the country. But yeah, Chad Baker-Mazara, you've got to be smarter than that. And just goes back to what we just talked about a few minutes ago. You got to do that. And as far as being too dirty for a national championship, you're going to need him. You're going to need him for as many minutes as you can possibly get him coming up in the tournament. So I don't know what kind of sit down and conversation you have with him, or if he's a player that just once it gets to a certain level, he can't help himself. If that's the case, then Auburn's going to have to figure out how to play without him.
Well, that brings us to our Twitter poll question of the day. So will Chad Baker-Mazara receive a flagrant 2 foul in the postseason? Simple yes or no question. And right now winning is yes, with 65.9%, 34.1% saying no.
That's surprising because you would think after what happened in the NCAA tournament last year against Yale, and then now happening against your biggest rival over the weekend as you get ready for the most important games of the season. Yeah, I mean, it was a rivalry game. Yeah, it was to me, it was bigger for Alabama than Auburn over the weekend because Alabama had to kind of right the ship a little bit for what was going on. Have something positive happen going into the postseason. Not so much in my opinion for Auburn. But you just seeing that happen time and time again, and he's an emotional player. You love that. He's going to fight for your team, but you just have to be smart. And for whatever reason, Bruce Pearl has not been able to get through to him, and you just don't want that to affect a big game down the stretch that Auburn's going to need. I'm
trying to remember between Auburn and Alabama basketball players, does he have the record? And I know the F1 and the F2. But I wonder if he has the record for F1, F2, or technical fouls in a season. Chad Baker-Mazara.
I don't know. Maybe Marshall Henderson had some when he played at Ole Miss.
Yeah, I was just saying the Auburn and Alabama players specifically.
Oh, Alabama and Auburn players?
Yeah, Marshall Henderson had several.
I don't know. That's a good question.
But it's changed, and you should just get teed up.
But I mean, I don't recall either Alabama or Auburn having those type players that would get those calls.
No. It's hard for me to think of.
Not on a consistent basis.
No, not consistently.
Yeah.
But it's something that now when people are tuning into games, they're watching and just seeing how he's going to respond. He didn't do it in the right way.
Hey, it's must-see TV.
It is. It adds some flair. There's some personality to that team.
I love it.
Starting
fantastic
right there with Chad Baker-Mazara.
And one other thing I want to pass along because, okay, if Alabama fans had a problem with the way the Auburn team and Bruce Pearl at times how they've acted when they've won in Coleman Coliseum, doing the crane and mocking the fans or whatever, then Auburn fans, you don't need to get upset when Alabama's doing what they're doing. If you're so worried about that, don't lose the game. Go the spoils of victory. Bottom line, it's a rivalry. These things happen. So if Alabama's got a problem the way Auburn acts when they come to Coleman Coliseum, then don't let Auburn beat you. Same goes for Auburn. Don't let Alabama walk into your place that's supposed to be the toughest place in America to play a basketball game and lose.
Well,
Pretty
it's good.
simple.
It's good for the rivalry, right? It's not fun if everybody just goes and hugs after the game and shakes hands and says, "Good job, everybody. Let's do this again."
Because the social
you
media
need
stuff that Auburn put on the players on their Instagram and all the other stuff in the locker room at Coleman Coliseum, and then Alabama does the exact same thing inside Neville Arena. I mean,
Or you want to post a video of your team cheering after Alabama loses to Tennessee, and I know it's because you won the SEC title, but it goes both ways, right? You can do that, but then when you lose, you got to take your licks.
I would rather have that than what happened between Michigan and Michigan State.
Yeah.
You know, at midcourt.
Yeah,
I mean
that's
just good. It's a good rivalry. So
No, I don't have any problem with either one of them celebrating the way they did. Now, I do think it's valid bringing up the crane and Nelson during the game, and
yes,
that should've been
surprised that
taunting.
wasn't. Yeah,
Yeah.
And
was
how
awesome.
that did not incite more of a mix-up. Probably. We got a lot of texts on it. Got a lot of reaction from our listeners.
love it. We're going to go to a break, and when we come back, we're going to open up the phone lines. We're going to read your texts, and Molly's going to cry because they're going to be so outstanding.
Cry, Molly, cry.
That's next on Three Man Front. Oh, it's Reaction Monday here on Three Man Front. Love to hear from you. Basketball, IBOB Part 2. Bama wins in overtime. 1-800-239-WJOX.
Mandu in downtown Homewood, it's electrical muscle stimulation fitness. So Mandu electrical muscle stimulation workouts, they benefit people of all ages and fitness levels, from professional athletes to senior citizens. Mandu's workouts provide life-changing health benefits. I can speak to that. Mandu in downtown Homewood, you're going to go in, they're going to put you into a specially designed suit, hook you up to a machine that sends electric pulses to various muscle groups and parts of your body. If you're trying to build up your chest, your arms, your shoulders, maybe your calves, getting ready for the warmer months when you're going to be exposing more of your body, you can do it with Mandu. Mandu in downtown Homewood, your first visit is absolutely free. They'll put you through the workout, but the revolutionary technology, it's 15 minutes. It's a 15-minute workout. That's it. No strings attached, no fine print. 15 minutes, equivalent to 6 to 8 hours in the gym. Mandu in downtown Homewood, MANDUU.com. Make sure you tell them Landrum from Jocks 94.5 sent you.
Your reaction to Alabama's 93-91 win, Chad Baker-Mazara, Grant Nelson, all the storylines. Let's go to the phones now.
Let's go to Derek. He wants to talk Bama hoops. Hey, Derek, how are you?
Well, guys, let's going to try not to use profanity. Let's just try to go with that. Like I mentioned, Conrad, I mean, I've been watching them twice your age, been watching this game a long time. Now, braggadocious, any NBA champion, you want to know the last 45 years, just name the year, Pat, I'll tell you. Most NCAA tournaments, I can tell you, anything from 80 to 2000. And that play with Youngblood doesn't just stem from Saturday's game. It goes back to the first game. Because if you go back when Auburn was trying to ice free throws, I mean, and thank you, Landrum, for telling the nation, you know, what a cheap shot. I'm not going to, like I said, I'm not going to use profanity. Youngblood is. Go back and watch that first game. Ray Lewis's Youngblood practically picks him up 10 feet out of bounds on that missed free throw, and they don't call a thing. So that's where a lot of this retaliation is coming from, not just from the game that day. And in regard to, you know, Nelson, let's not take our opinions. Let's take what the commentators on TV said. I know we heard, I can't think of his name, Auburn's announcer, and then let's listen to the national radio show. What did they say as far as that should have been a technical or not?
Oh, they did. They immediately said it should be taunting.
Oh, of course they did. And that's what I'm saying. That's a big part of the game that wasn't, you know, called properly. You know, and do I think what Baker-Mazara did was childish and he deserved? Heck yeah, it was a flagrant 2. For sure. But what I'm saying is it's coming off retaliation from a lot more than just what was taking place in that game. And I'm just saying, I mean, Charles Oakley, Rodman, I've seen them do some pretty cheap shots, but this guy, man, I mean, he's dirty. And I don't think he's going to go to the next league, but if he does, beware, because you're not going to get away with that. I'm just telling you.
Derek, good stuff.
Please go back to that game 1 and watch what I'm talking about, where Ray Lewis is him 10 feet out of bounds on the missed free throw.
Yep.
You'll see what I'm saying.
Yeah, when he took him out underneath the goal.
Anyway,
yeah.
It's a great show, guys.
Hey, thank you.
Thanks, Derek.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate you, man. Derek with a phone call. I've got a lot of text on Derek's side of that,
hold
but
on.
also on the other side. Why is Conrad smiling like he's...
Well, no, I'm not saying that Chris Youngblood doesn't take his shots, but I just felt like that was to say he Ray Lewis, Chad Baker-Mazara into the crowd. Like, they got tangled up. He gave him a little shove. I didn't know if we were talking about what Ray Lewis did on the football field or some other, alleged things. It's like, come on, man, that was not that bad. On top of the fact that if you're Baker-Mazara, like, anybody that plays Auburn, do you not think they're going to have somebody that's going to say, hey, your job is to get under his skin?
Well, I mean, it's happened every game since, I guess, down the stretch, it has happened with at least one player from an opposing team down the stretch. But no, Derek is absolutely right. I don't know if you want to categorize it as a Ray Lewis or as a Muhammad Ali, like a haymaker, but no, he did it. Pat, you remember it. It was there as you were watching the screen. It happened to the basket if you're watching the screen on the right in the game in Coleman Coliseum that they kept going back to. So the officials, if they start looking at this more, they have replay though, so it's not like they just caught the one. They saw the retaliation. They looked at it for a long time, but maybe with the rep that Chad Baker-Mazara, and this would be unfair, but maybe he's not getting the benefit of the doubt on those things.
Perhaps.
Well, I thought, were people mad about, because there's the play where Baker-Mazara was he had like fallen on the ground and Chris Youngblood stepped over him. I thought that's what people were more so drawing from. I know what happened in the first matchup, But I guess that was the play that people look back on and went, oh, that's why Baker Mazara retaliated the way he did, because he thought that Youngblood was maybe trying to step on him or
Now, when
something.
when it looked like Youngblood did something to his back, do you remember that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like hit him in the kidney or the whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know where that was.
Yeah, in the ribs, whatever. Yeah.
And let's just be honest. I mean, Mazzara likes to play the drama up on certain things, like when he's going to the basket and likes to find the ground a lot. I mean, so does Mark Sears. I mean, they all do it, but I didn't think when supposedly Youngblood did what he did in the lane and caused Mazzara to go
When he
flailing.
stepped on him?
No, I'm talking about when like it looked like he did something in his lower back.
Oh.
You know, on that particular
Yeah, that
play.
looked like maybe that was a little bit of
acting.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe.
If not, I mean, he's
maybe he's skin and bone. Maybe he was.
That's true. Youngblood might be.
It's really tender right there.
I was about to say he's a little thicker.
Yeah, he's thicker than Mazzara.
I love these texts. These are great. 205-834-9450. We will get to your text. We'll go to Chris. He's waiting. He wants to talk Bama hoops. Hey, Chris.
Yeah, what's good, gentlemen? And Molly, roll tide, man. Could you believe the amount of mentions? What happens in my mentions on social media from the Barnes fans, man? All the calls searching in that game, and man, and then they even had the audacity to call the game riddled by ref calls, call it MICKEY MOUSC. Mickey win. Come on now. Look, what are we doing? It should be good for the gander. It should also be good for the goose, right? So it's okay when y'all do it, but when we do it, it's a problem. Okay. and you know what's funny? You know what you can do? Y'all can save the tissue paper you're gonna trash the place with on Tuma's Corner. Save it for your rear ends and save it for your tears. Because guess what? The end results, whether you like it or not, is this one true fact. And we're gonna be class today. Matter of fact, classy enough to say this is a master class. The first rule of master class 1 is for y'all to take out your senior night Metro cards and to get aboard the air.
Appreciate it, Chris. I had to spare some of our listeners there.
I don't know.
We appreciate your phone calls. They are welcome. 800-239-WJOX, 205-834-9450. We'll get to more of your texts. It is Reaction Monday on Three Man Front. That is where we're this. Okay. Chris just took me somewhere else. Three Man Front and Jocks 94.5.
Championship week continues tonight, right here on Jocks 94.5, beginning at 6 o'clock. How about the SoCon Championship? That's right. SoCon Championship tonight.
How about SIUE punching their first ticket?
Yeah.
Drake, no big surprise there. I love Championship week. I've told you guys that like 100 times in the past 2 weeks, but I do love Championship week.
It's a great week.
Unfortunately, Sanford is not playing in the SoCon Championship.
No, Furman got the best of them again, unfortunately.
That's the Battle of South Carolina. Now we got Wofford and Furman. Are you kidding me? Move over, Alabama.
That's a
right.
5 and a 6 playing each other.
Yeah.
Never saw Wofford coming.
That's what makes championship week great, right? You never know what you're going to get.
Wofford looked good against VMI yesterday.
VMI.
Feel like there's more to that for Pat than just
There
watching the
was.
game.
Of course.
There was.
Did you go with the Keydets or did you go with the other?
No,
Isn't that what they're
Wofford.
called, the Keydets?
Yeah, that's VMI.
VMI, the Keydets. You went with Wofford, the Terriers.
I did.
T-Dogs.
I also took
Learned that this morning.
South Alabama +4, and they lost by 3. So,
Oh, you got Troy tonight. Right?
Troy and Arkansas State.
Go Trojans.
Arkansas State, a 1.5-point favorite.
I was about to say Arkansas State might find themselves because we thought South Alabama, I guess in the bracket projections, had them making the tournament and playing Alabama in the first round. What if you had Arkansas State, Hodgson versus Nate Oates?
Since I've kind of been under the weather this weekend, I've had an opportunity.
You can't tell.
My sleep patterns,
Poor guy.
like I have none, like zero. So needless to say, watching the West Coast Conference last night, Pepperdine and Santa Clara, and then San Francisco. What are you laughing?
No, I'm just.
I've shown the data. I've shown you the data.
I know.
Because that's where Rocco Miller typically.
Yeah.
It's Vegas. There's some good basketball. Like Pepperdine is, they're like 6 or 7 games under 500, and they've already won 2 games in the West Coast Conference, including beating Santa Clara. It's like 20-win team last night. They had their point guard, and I think his last name's Odom. He went for, I think, 19 points. He had 12 assists and like 5 or 6 rebounds.
That'll play.
Yeah.
I mean, this dude is unconscious right now in that tournament, and then knocked off Santa Clara. So now they've got they got St. Mary's.
So is Pepperdine your super dog of the week?
No, it is not. It's just it's like Landrum said, when you get to championship week and you get an opportunity to perhaps watch some teams. I mean, listen, I'm not watching Pepperdine unless I've got some type of entertainment interest in that game. But it was a lot of fun. The West Coast Conference, that is a good basketball league. I know a lot of times we're all asleep by the time they come on.
If
But
they would just play the games earlier.
yeah, I mean, St. Mary's, Gonzaga, San Francisco, Santa Clara. There's some good basketball out there.
Oh, another team that punched their ticket, Omaha.
That's right. Go Mavs.
Wasn't that one of Brian Edwards' favorites this year?
Best team in the state of Nebraska.
Honestly, yeah.
Well, there's Creighton.
Well, they lost to Nebraska.
800-239-WJOX. Speaking of favorites, how about Dobbs Ford? Dobbs Ford is right there on Parkway East. It's my favorite Ford dealership and my favorite group of people, the Goshens, the managing partners there at Dobbs Ford. They're going to take care of you every step of the way. From their full transparency, they're going to beat any competitor's price. They can do that. And you look at Alabama's largest showroom selection of cars, trucks, and SUVs, from the Escapes, the Explorers, the F-150s, the Bronco Sports, the Mustangs. You can find them all there. They will take care of you. Also a great pre-owned selection as well. It's Dobbs Ford, Parkway East in Birmingham. Check them out, dobbsfordbirmingham.com. When you talk to them, make sure you tell them that Landrum from Jocks 94.5 sent you.
All right, back to the phones. Larry is next here on Three Man Front. Good morning, Larry.
Hey, guys, enjoy the show always. I just want to throw something out there. At the end of the game when the fans threw the towels, I would assume most people would agree that throwing towels is not a big deal. At least they weren't throwing cups and ice and what have you. Would you agree?
Yes. I did not have a problem with what they were doing and what they were throwing.
I didn't either. But this amazes me, though, is even at our ages, is people on social media and people that just have that hate factor. Keep on hating and stay miserable is the way I look at it, because, they beat us in Tuscaloosa, beat us fair and square, and I didn't really, as a Bama fan, I didn't think we could win down there, but They proved us wrong, but I just wanted to throw that out there, guys. Enjoy the show. Thank you.
Thanks, Larry.
I did see how quickly Bruce Pearl got over there. Wanted to make sure that nothing else was thrown.
We like throwing things in the SEC these past few months.
Yeah.
Oh, it's copycat. It's a copycat mentality.
So y'all made
Who
fun
started
of me.
all this? Who started all
Texas.
this?
Can we
Texas started
blame
this
Texas?
crap.
It's Texas. Yes.
That's exactly right.
It is their
But I've
fault.
been on this for years. They shouldn't let people on the field. That was the gateway right there. Letting people on the field.
Yep.
Celebrating wins.
Now, just don't even let them in the building.
Nope.
Start investing in jumbotrons outside of arena.
Yep. Make them stay outside.
Yep. Charge for sitting in the parking lot in a folding chair.
You know, I really like the atmosphere of the COVID year. I thought that really added a great element to all the games.
I loved it when my private conversations were heard by players on the court.
I want to pay for my cardboard cutout to be in the stands again.
That was fun. 205-834-9450. That takes us to the Jocks text line. Robert in Greenville, who's always on top of it. Thank you, Robert. He says Troy plays Arkansas State for the Sun Belt Tournament title. An automatic bid for the NCAA tournament tip-off is set for 6 p.m. The game will be on ESPN2 and ESPN Plus. This game is to be played in Pensacola, Florida. Thank you, Robert. DJ Pip says he kept calling that guy Chad Baker Mayfield. LOL. That's funny.
That's good. I've never heard that one.
Yeah.
Broom plays with his back to the basket. His first 15 shots were in the paint, but 13 of them were hook shots, ? Bruce asking for more calls when Broom's go-to shot is a drop step half hook. Understand what he's saying there. I think it was frustrating the catch and shoot, and it's happened at times where Broom gets it. It's one pass, and he just turns around and he shot puts it. You saw a couple of those late, and I don't know if Bruce necessarily liked those particular calls. Not with the officials, just
the shot selection.
The shot selection. This one rolling in and saying, I love Griffin, but so glad Nate traded him to Kansas for Filine. Best trade in history.
Worked out pretty well.
This question asks, in the taunting, exactly who did Grant Nelson taunt? He did the pose, but it wasn't directly at any player. Absolutely not taunting unless taunting the crowd is all of a sudden a technical foul. Or the crane is all of a sudden a technical
I don't know.
foul.
If you look at the video.
He was right in front of, was it Broom or Cardwell? Or it might have been both of them.
He was in the mix. If I remember correctly, there was an Auburn player on his left, Auburn on the right. He did not directly do it. Because if you do that, there's a good chance you're making contact with one of the players.
I was about to say, he wasn't jawing off at somebody while doing it, but he was clearly, it was taunting. We all know what it was.
Johnny says, shouldn't someone have already told Jimmy Dykes that Roll Tide or War Eagle isn't the mascot of either team? He misuses it every single game.
Yeah, he does.
Mark in Homewood says, I'm happy Nelson struck the crane. Now I know he has a pulse.
Well, and see, that was my thing was that game just made me think maybe he just didn't have a lot of confidence this year for whatever reason, because having that moment and then after that, the threes started falling. It felt like he just needed a reminder that, hey, I'm a pretty good basketball player when I want to be.
This one rolling in. We all know Chump Baker Mazzara is a dirty player. Why would he stop playing dirty if Pearl keeps defending him? Pearl says he's not seen it when asked, but he saw it on the Jumbotron like the rest of us. Call him out, punish him, and move on. Well, I think Pearl said he's got to learn not to retaliate.
Yeah, I heard some reports that Janai Broom had a conversation with him after the game and reminded him that this is not about you, this is about all of us, and we're going to need you here.
Pat B says, at this moment, neither Alabama or Auburn can talk because we've both won at the opponent's venue. Just play ball.
That's why we need a tiebreaker in the NCAA tournament.
This one rolling in from the state of Tennessee. Honestly, it's better he had this incident now in the regular season and could see all the outcry, so he'll be better behaved in the tournament. You could tell it was brewing the last several games. You got thrown out of Arkansas, right? Yeah.
Sounds right. I also don't think it sat well with people if you saw he went on social media after the game and essentially posted something saying he's rent-free in everyone's heads after getting ejected in a game that Auburn lost. I don't think a lot of people didn't like that.
I think it would be an easier decision for Bruce Pearl if Chad Baker-Mazara was not such an outstanding player. Defensively and on the offensive end. I mean, you're going to have him to win a championship.
No doubt.
If Nelson had done the crane facing an AU player with eye contact, it would have been easier to call of taunting, as if he was just airing his underarms. It was edge. You know what they were trying to say.
Maybe he told the refs he was just stretching.
This one says Auburn is a bully. Grant Nelson chose a great time to punch back. Auburn looked dazed and backed down after the dunk on the head of Cardwell. Make Auburn play through Broome and cut down the 3 ball. That will beat Auburn in the end. Mark says he took Auburn minus 140 to win the SEC tournament. Good for you, Mark. Just add Nelson's crane or Baker getting kicked out for his behavior again to a long list of crying victimization that dates back to 2004, where USC would have dog-walked Auburn again. It's just who they are at this point. Michael from South Carolina. Obviously not an Auburn fan. 205. Oh,
obviously not.
834-9450. Can you explain the Michigan State mix-up is what we're being asked. And apparently, closing seconds of game, Michigan State, they're seniors. They want to honor them. They go and they kiss the logo at midcourt. Michigan players standing inside of logo, on logo.
On the midcourt, yeah.
So that caused the fray, and then tempers were lost.
And Dusty May afterwards, he obviously was unaware of the tradition, and that he was just, he was like, "Look, I have no problem with Michigan State doing what they did, but I mean, are we just not supposed to be standing at midcourt during a free throw? Like what do you want us to do?" So someone explain that to me.
Communication.
Not as nasty as the after the Ohio State football game, though.
At this time, with the 2 Michigan players standing in center court on the logo, please move. So the time-honored tradition of kissing the logo. I don't know how you did that. Makes rivalries fun, doesn't it? Championship week, 11 o'clock hour. More of your texts, more of your phone calls here on this Reaction Monday. 3-man front, Jocks 94.5, JocksFM.com, the Jocks 94.5 app.
Welcome back. It's hour number 2, a three-man front. Pat, Conrad, Molly, Landrum with you until 2 o'clock. It's Reaction Monday. A lot of reaction. First hour of the show, 93-91 Alabama overtime victory over the Auburn Tigers. Been talking about Chad Baker-Mazara getting a flagrant 2, in which he was ejected from the game. 10 minutes left to go in the game. Our Twitter poll question of the day today, Conrad, has to deal with the question about Chad Baker-Mazara moving forward in regards to what potentially could happen. And right now, I believe it's around 65% said that he will get another flagrant 2 before the end of the season.
Yeah, the Elon Musk machine isn't working right now, so we don't have the updated poll results. But yeah, the question we asked was, will Chad Baker-Mazara get a flagrant 2 in the postseason for Auburn, like you got against Yale last year, like you had it on Saturday against Alabama? And I know when we last checked the voting was definitely leaning towards yes, that is going to be something that happens in the postseason. But you can go vote on that, and whenever Elon Musk pays his power bill, we'll be able to get updated results off X.
And meanwhile, Landrum, Joe Lenardi, his bracketology, that was updated last night around 11:30, and no big surprise, no really movement from the Auburn-Alabama perspective.
No, he still has Auburn as the top overall seed, and I'll just kind of read you what he summarized and said that Auburn lost its second straight game on Saturday at Alabama, which is a headline only because it hasn't happened very often this season. Regardless of the final regular season record, it's been a remarkable year for the Tigers, who still enter championship week as a runaway number 1 seed. He goes through the schedule, all the Q1 competition, and he says that while they didn't quite reach, we know those, he goes back to Kentucky and arriving at the 2015 Final Four, 38-0, and he says, we know those Wildcats didn't quite reach the finish line. Maybe Auburn won't either, but what we have witnessed with Auburn in this season, so far this season, should not be forgotten. So he's got Auburn as the top overall number 1. Duke is the other number 1. Florida is one of your number 1s. And Houston is your number 1 as well. He's got Alabama as a 2 seed and several others. But that's just kind of what Joe Lenardi put out last night. It leads me to believe that nothing changes in Joe's mind. And Joe talks to people. So it'll be interesting to see the likes of Jerry Palm, Rocco Miller, and others and the brackets that they put out this week.
Yeah, so Rocco Miller, he will join us tomorrow while we're live at Social Taco. You were talking about Auburn. It is interesting because there's been a little bit of movement of who they potentially would play. And this is Joe Lenardi because everybody's got a different bracket.
Yeah.
But Memphis is now an 8 seed.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, Memphis.
It'd be a rematch of a game we got in Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
Memphis is that would be I would not want to have them on the second game of the tournament.
No.
For anybody.
No, Memphis, when they decide that they want to play, they can play. I still like that matchup just based on what I remember from the game in Hawaii. But, yeah, I'm like you, though. If there was another 8, maybe with a different name beside it, make you feel better. And I think part of that, Pat, is because it's Memphis.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Alabama, their second-round game potentially would be either against Kansas or Arkansas.
Yeah. I'd rather have Arkansas probably. Just because, I mean, as bad as Kansas' season has gone based on their expectations, I mean, there was a reason they were the number 1 team in the country.
You said you'd rather have...
I'd rather play Arkansas than Kansas.
Is that because of name on jersey?
No, it's just because I think Kansas has,
because you don't want Griffin going for 40?
Well, yeah, that would be my biggest fear. But, I mean, I think Dickinson would probably cause some problems for Alabama. He's pretty good.
He's all right.
He's all right.
Did he have like 34 points this weekend or something?
Yeah, he's very
What was his
they beat
deal?
Arizona.
What was his NIL deal to get him to transfer from Michigan
It was healthy.
to Kansas? Wasn't it one of the biggest?
It was a lot, and they did it again this year because he could have gone to the NBA, and they paid him a lot of money to come back.
Meanwhile, Lenardi's got the SEC with 13 teams. 13. Back to 13. Friday was 12.
Somebody helped somebody this weekend.
So I guess it was Oklahoma beating Texas.
Yeah, and for Texas, man, when your superstar player goes over in a essentially elimination game from NCAA tournament qualification, that's a tough pill to swallow. But good for Oklahoma.
Meanwhile, the UAB Blazers, they wrapped up their regular season yesterday in New Orleans against Tulane. They lost that one 85-68. Tulane outscored UAB by 18 points in the second half. They shot 54% for the game. Jabari McGee continues his hot play for the Blazers, 25 points. Yaxel Lindenborg, 13 points, only 5 rebounds. So the Blazers finished 20-11, 13-5 in conference play. Third seed in the American tournament coming up Friday night.
Didn't you did you share, you were sharing with me that what had happened there on the when they first got to New Orleans?
Yeah, David Crane was telling the story yesterday in which they had got to New Orleans, they had got to their hotel, and then apparently they were just going to drop their bags off, and then they were going to head back to Fogelman Arena, I think, for a shoot-around. And literally, I think David Crane said that they were there for 15 minutes, and by the time they came back out to their charter bus, the back windshield had been blown out. Apparently, somebody wanted to break into the charter bus, and maybe they thought that there was still some luggage or personal items or whatever the case may be. So, yeah, 15 minutes in the hotel.
That'd be kind of tough if you're a thief to finagle. Would you ask somebody to bring a stepladder?
Well, and that's what I'm saying. That's got to be like it's more difficult than I imagine just a normal car theft, right? And so you're trying to break into a charter bus, and then you get in there, and you're like, man, I did all this, and there's nothing in here? That's just not doesn't seem like an easy thing to do.
Yeah, the crazy stat from that game is there was a total of 18 free throws. And UAB, as the visiting team, got to shoot 12 of them.
Maybe Doug Shows, because Doug Shows had done the Auburn-Alabama game.
Yeah, he was like, I'm not blowing the whistle.
He wasn't going to call. I think Pat Adams was the other official.
You guys play.
Yeah.
Short of you guys attempting to kill each other, I'm not blowing this
Let's
whistle.
get out of here in an hour and 45 minutes if we can.
Oh, it's crazy. A total of 20 fouls were called.
Wow.
20.
Just a good, clean basketball game, Landrum.
That's what you call it.
Yeah. That's what we can call it. I just like how now we're going from Alabama and Auburn playing at the same time to now Alabama and UAB playing at the same time.
As
Friday.
opposed to 47 being called in Michigan and Michigan State.
A little different.
I don't think anybody tried to kiss the Green Wave logo. Well, you got the American tournament coming up. Anything can happen, right? Start fresh.
We've seen that happen
Get
before.
all the bad basketball out of your system.
I mean, Temple was awful last year.
Yeah, they were.
And Temple got to the championship game against UAB. So, doesn't matter what happens until now. You get to the conference tournament and then get hot and see what happens.
Yeah. Sure, the visit this week with Andy on the Inferno podcast will be a spirited one as they get ready to go and play in postseason play. But that's what UAB does.
So I'll say he knows what it takes.
Yeah, he certainly does. Enjoy championship week. Here for all of it.
It's going to be a lot of fun. It's just, I know we have, the smaller conferences now, but it's like, man, we have to wait until Friday for Alabama and Auburn. That's the only bad part is they've been so good this year that now you have to wait and have that. And I know the players are happy to get some rest, but.
Well, and your home for championship week is Jocks 94.5, the network of stations. Coming up tonight, 5:45, you get the SoCon Championship. You get that right here on Jocks and on the Jocks app. Coming up tomorrow, you get the Colonial Championship on Jocks and the Jocks app at 5:45, and then the West Coast Conference Championship at 8:15 tomorrow night. Wednesday, of course, we got opening round action of the SEC basketball tournament. We're going to have that on Jocks 2 and on the stream with coverage beginning at 11:45. And then later on that night, we're going to have the Patriot League, and then we'll keep updating you on our schedule. But we've got wall-to-wall basketball here on the station all week long.
So NC State yesterday, they fired their head basketball coach, Kevin Keats. Last year, he coached his team to an improbable run to the Final Four, which was incredible. He just finished his 8th season at NC State. He went 5-15 in the ACC this year. 5-15.
He wasn't the only one.
No. He finished 16th in the ACC this year.
Well, that was the team the last year. I mean, remarkable run was awesome to watch, to get to watch that last year. But that was a team that going into the ACC tournament last year was fighting for their life to get into the NCAA tournament. So it wasn't like they had this miraculous year and went to a Final Four. It was a true Cinderella story. And so I guess, another year, you're not expecting that to happen again.
His buyout, $7.8 million at NC State.
Yeah.
That'll hurt the pocketbook a little bit.
And supposedly NC State paid $2 million for their NIL players this year on their roster.
$2 million?
$2 million.
You're going to need more of a commitment than that. for whoever the next coach is.
So who's the hot board candidate? So we have any out already?
Absolutely. I've got 3 of them right here ready to go.
Oh,
Is it the same as
no.
Florida State or similar?
I'm just thinking about a particular tie. Go ahead.
Will Wade.
That's a good spot for Will.
That would be good.
Good spot for Will.
$1 million buyout at Big
Strong
D's.
ass spot for Will.
there it is.
Ryan Odom from VCU.
Okay.
He's won 49 games in the last 2 years. And this one is pretty interesting. Mike Bray.
Ooh, old pasty legs.
Mike
Bray
former
returned to the state of North Carolina, where he was a longtime assistant for Coach K
Yep.
at Duke. Knows the territory pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the top 3 names right now.
Okay. Very different than the Florida State list.
Uh-huh. Very much so.
I thought you were going to throw out AK because
No.
he transferred from NC State to UAB. That's good.
Yep.
Gonna have to do more than $2 million in NIL though. Got a lot of players across the country that are making that much themselves, let alone your entire roster.
Whole roster, $2 million. At NC State.
Well, that'll get you 16th in your conference.
Yeah. 2 million. I wonder what what Arkansas and Alabama's. Alabama's reportedly it was around 6 million. Now, some people are saying that Arkansas is as much in the country, so that could be 7 or 8 million.
What do you think Auburn's is?
I would say Auburn's is probably 3.
That's it?
That's what I was told. Yeah. That it would be half of.
That's a heck of a
It was
bargain.
around, well,
I was about to say that.
sometime this summer, it was reportedly believed to be around half of what Alabama's was. But Janai Broome getting the lion's share of that, obviously, with 1.5 or kind of up in the air. It's over $1 million.
Yeah, and I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if, you told me that Pettiford was the second highest paid player on that roster, just with his
No.
pedigree coming out of high school.
Yep. I don't know how much you had to pay to get a guy like Dylan Cardwell to come back. Probably not that much. Chad Baker-Mazara, how much he would command, or a Denver Jones. So I can believe that number.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's a heck of a ROI right there, though. If you're paying $3 million and you just had arguably the best season in program history or regular season, not too shabby.
What do you think Kentucky's is?
I would think that Kentucky's is probably
Pretty healthy.
Yeah, but I just guessing that it's not 6. I think 4 or 5.
What do you think Trey Johnson's being paid at Texas?
Ooh, 7 figures for sure. And again, that's the guy that just went, I believe, 0 for 14 in your game on Saturday against Oklahoma.
Yeah, he can't be perfect every night.
No, he can't. He's very good. He is very good.
0 for 14 is tough.
Yeah, 0 for 14 in against your biggest rival last game of the season. A lot on the line.
Did he have any underlying issue like stomach illness or?
I don't think so.
He got 7 points at the free throw line. So that's something.
That's tough. Over 14 for that guy.
Yeah, you feel for him in that situation, but yeah, I think financially he's being taken care of.
Miles Kelly is another one that I'm being told he is one of the higher earners from the Auburn
Makes
NIL
sense.
squad.
Makes perfect
So
sense.
it might be more than 3 million. It's not 6.
Yeah, I mean, I could see some of these numbers being higher than, I don't know if y'all saw the thing over the weekend where somebody was reporting that Texas maybe paid $25 million for their football roster this last year. And you're like, man, that's a bigger number than I had heard before. So maybe some of these numbers are a little bigger than we think that they are.
True. Very true. Golster Tree Service, you need to call them 205-337-4018. Family owned and operated for over 35 years. No job is too big or small. From trimming to removal to grinding the stump, the roots out, the hauling the last stick away, they can take care of you today. 24-hour emergency storm work, 205-337-4018. That is Golston Tree Service.
A lot of texts coming in, 205-834-9450. We will get to your text. If you want to weigh in, you can do that. You want to give us a call, you can do that as well. 800-239-WJOX. Championship week has begun, and you're home for it. 3-man front and Jocks 94.5.
Text line is open, 205-834-9450. Also, would love to hear from you, 1-800-239-WJOX. This is Reaction Monday. Reminder, we'll be live tomorrow at Social Taco. Come by and see us. We'll be there from 10 until 2.
A lot of basketball this week, and you're going to have to stay up late for some of these matchups to get ready for your NCAA tournament bracket. Well, you can do it with the help of our friends at Mystic Beverage, made right here in Blount County, Alabama. Mystic Beverage is sparkling water infused with various cannabinoids for relaxation and focus. My go-to is the Lift Blend. It's got CBD, it's got CBG and Delta-9, but it's also got the green coffee bean extract that is going to boost both your body and your mind, pick you up late in the day. You got a lot to do. It can certainly help. Also, the High Hills Delta-9 available in the 5 milligram and 15 milligram for a balanced and elevated vibe. Nirvanic is your 25 milligram Delta-8, a smooth, calming experience, perfect for unwinding. No matter any of these products, is a great alternative to alcohol in whatever mood you're trying to achieve. MysticBeverage.com. MysticBeverage.com. You can find them locally in your local Piggly Wiggly store. And make sure, if you run into some of the folks there at Mystic Beverage, you tell them Landrum from Jocks 94.5 sent you.
Well, the IBOB did not disappoint this weekend as it took overtime for Alabama to knock off Auburn 93-91. And, man, just down the stretch, Broom's big shot. Then, of course, Mark Sears. This is the way it sounded on the Auburn radio network.
Pettiford across midcourt, gets to the left wing, lobs it to Broom at the top, kicks it left wing for Tahad. Long three to tie it, short. Rebound, Pettiford. To Jones, to the corner. Janai to tie it. Yes! Holy cow! We're tied at 91. Janai has hit 2 threes in overtime, and Alabama calls a timeout. Filing up the floor. They're going to work for a final shot. 9 seconds in overtime. 8 seconds. Filing drifts left side. Out at the top with 5. Sears at the right wing. Sears drives, free throw line, down the lane, running good, and Alabama wins it at the buzzer. He turned the corner, went right down the middle of the lane, and he scores, and Alabama has won it. They'll review it, but I'm pretty certain they got rid of the ball in time. They're going to review it. Some stuff has come out of the Auburn student section. Don't need that.
That's the way it sounded on the Auburn radio network as did you notice there with about 5 seconds, and you could tell it in Bertram's voice when it seemed like when, I think the way that Bruce Pearl explained it after the game, there was a failed switch.
Correct.
That was supposed to pick up Sears. And you could tell that Andy saw that because the inflection of his voice, it was deflated. Like he was like, oh gosh, he's about to have like a wide open view to the basket.
Was it just me on Saturday to Hod Pettiford look winded at the end of the game? Did he look tired to you guys? Because there was a lazy dribble where he had the turnover.
Yeah, where Phylon picked his pocket.
He just looked like he was having trouble on the defensive end, trying to keep up with his guys. And I know that the downhill fashion late in the game, he had to play a lot of minutes. I wondered if that was just me.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of them look tired. I know Pearl after the game essentially said that because of their bench situation with Maker Mazzara being ejected and then some of the other guys not giving him what he was looking for when they were on the floor, that some guys were out there that were exhausted.
Well, I mean, you had Denver Jones who's just coming off an injury that's still banged up.
For offensively, not his best night, but what he was able to do defensively, being injured, I thought was remarkable. It was just like the first matchup where he was not letting Mark Sears do anything. Until the end, obviously, but I thought he was great, even being banged up the way that he played.
205-834-9450. We got more of your texts that we will get to right now, as a matter of fact, on the Jocks text line. Johnny texts in and says that maybe the shot by Mark Sears there at the end of the game, a new Daniel Moore painting. Call it on the mark. Marksman.
Yeah, I just wonder if the situation, I mean, great moment, great game, but again, with nothing on the line, if that was to win the SEC regular season title or that happened in Nashville on Sunday, maybe it'd be a little different.
Jonathan says Auburn sucks. Well, Jonathan?
Well, that's not nice.
It's not.
They're
and
very
if
good.
Auburn sucks as your regular season conference champion, what does that say about the rest of the league, Jonathan? Oh, I think you're just saying Auburn in general. Maybe not basketball.
Well, the SEC is overrated, according to some people,
Auburn's lost 2 in a row. Sky is falling. Drake says, I believe this Florida team is better than Florida's team that won the Natty.
That's what PG said last week.
Florida team is good. Let's start having targeting in basketball. If you're ejected in a game, you have to sit out the first half of the next game. Oh, more on Chad Baker Mazzara. Cheddar bacon lasagna should have saved his ejection for the NCAA tournament.
Some of these names, like, I didn't know there were so many nicknames.
I've never had cheddar bacon lasagna, but
that sounds
Me
really
either.
sounds incredible.
Sounds really good.
Yep. This one coming in sounds like Jonathan sucks. All right, well, let's see what we started. Someone said that they thought the Grant Nelson gesture was for Craneworks. And that's immediately what I thought.
Does he have NIL through Craneworks?
I'm sure Dave
He should.
Upton would love that.
Maybe that's what the official was telling Bruce.
Yeah, it was a
Bruce,
NIL deal.
they're a sponsor. Sponsor you guys? They sponsor Alabama? What am I supposed to do? Question from this listener, which is more shocking, the SEC success this year in men's basketball or the lack of Kansas, UNC, Syracuse, and UConn? I would take Syracuse out of that because they've been trending down for a while.
Mm-hmm. Even when Boeheim was
But
still
Kansas, UNC, and UConn for sure. It's weird. But I like that weird.
there. Hey, Duke got that big win on Saturday night, though. That was really big for them.
Big comeback.
Really impressive. It was a comeback, yeah.
And Austin reminds us that Tennessee was the one who started throwing things like a golf ball at Kiffin. Tennessee got it all started, not the Texas fans, with the throwing stuff on the court or the playing field.
Texas, though.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to review that one. Send that one to New York. Make sure I'm gonna read that one in real time. 205-834-9450. As you can weigh in, you want to react to what happened. Joe Lunardi still has Auburn as a number 1 overall seed in the tournament. Alabama is a number 2. How much does that change? Rocco Miller, our resident bracketologist, bracketeer.org, is going to join us tomorrow as championship week for some conference tournaments. Concluding tonight, you've got Troy, and you can hear the game here at Jocks tonight as they take on Arkansas State. You've also got some other big matchups. One that Pat, I know, is eyeing, and I asked him. It's the Patriot League Championship. You got a Navy team that has found their way into the championship game against an American team that just won't quit.
Those Americans.
Those Americans. You love their spirit.
Yes, very much so.
So in about 30 minutes when the AP poll comes out, are we expecting that Duke's going to be number 1?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And as we've already said, it doesn't mean squat for
Zero.
the seeding in the tournament, but
Auburn's out of the top 10.
they're out of the top 10.
Done. Done. Get them out of there. Where do you think Auburn falls?
Do you think they'll be number 2?
Yeah, they're not going to fall past number 2, surely.
2-game losing streak?
I mean, personally, I would keep them at number 1 because Duke, I mean, I'm sorry, they don't play anybody. They haven't played a ranked team in months.
Not a lot to choose
Seriously,
from.
that's not an exaggeration.
It's not their fault, Conrad. It's the schedule they play.
Well, unfortunately, the schedule they play sucks this year. And so you have to.
Conference is not good.
Did you see Flag's mom the other night?
Oh, yeah. She was. I saw her during the game and on social media going and defending herself against the UNC fans. Saying if they don't like it, well, that's too bad for them. But yeah, she was very animated.
Yeah, she's a firecracker.
Yeah, very excited for her son.
Should be. He's a good player.
He's about to make them a lot of money.
Yep, going to make a lot of money. What were the UNC fans doing?
I'm sure they were just saying good game or something like that. I don't know what exactly they were doing, but yeah, she was animated.
Yeah, I'm just looking at a whole collection of pictures of Cooper Flag's mom at games. She is a passionate mom.
Let me try to see if I can find that video. That was the video I sent you, wasn't it, Conrad?
Yes. So we need Alabama and Duke to play, and we can have Cooper Flag's mom and Mark Sears' mom, and they can sit next to each other.
We need a college basketball player parent All-America team. Because we can get Mark Sears' mom, we can get Cooper Flag's mom. I don't know how many other parents that go nuts during games.
You'll see this later.
Yeah, I'm watching.
Are you showing him the video from during the game of her in the stands?
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just feisty.
Yeah. Was that profanity that was coming out of her mouth?
I believe so.
Sure.
It was.
No.
Not in the UNC Duke rivalry.
No,
Never.
they hold themselves to a higher standard.
It's Tobacco Road.
Just
Don't
getting
do
into
that.
it, man.
You kidding me?
Wow.
It's just like in the Alabama-Auburn game. There's no bad words were said in that arena. Guarantee it.
Man, how cool would that be to have a son that's guaranteed just
Pretty cool.
and to be on a team that's a 1 seed, and that's what you're going to be doing for the next month is just traveling around and watching them play basketball.
And then for the next 20 years after that in the NBA, essentially.
Yeah.
If he stays healthy.
You're still just sitting around and watching him play basketball. We took you to all those camps, all those practices, all those early morning workouts. And I'm sure he'll gladly probably buy
I was
something
about to
for
say,
his
now they're
parents.
never gonna have to work again.
I just think
travel
it
in.
would be nice.
It would be nice.
Yes, it would. More reaction Monday here on Three Man Front. This is Jocks 94.5. Your texts are welcome at 205-834-9450, the courtesy GMC text line. And Landrum, I'm looking at your screen right now, and it's all lit up.
It's all lit up. That's exactly right, Pat. 205-834-9450. And Posey asks, in the case of Cooper Flagg and his parents, if your child was a first-round NBA pick, how long before you quit going to every game? It's an interesting question.
I mean, as long as he was bankrolling me, I'm going to keep going.
Cooper, do you need us there? Okay, we're there. Just make sure that we have our hotel and all of our travel and everything's taken care of. We don't have to worry about it. We just show up and we cheer.
I have always wondered how that impacts certain families, though, because I imagine, you have a son that's a college athlete. You want to be at most of their events if possible. But, especially, imagine now, you have a kid that plays in the Big Ten. Are you traveling? You're from New Jersey. Are you traveling out to Los Angeles to watch them when they go and play USC or something like that? If they play for Rutgers, like it's got to take a toll on the pocketbook to want to follow your kids around nowadays. I've always wondered how that worked.
Michael says, true story. This morning on the way to school, listening to Conrad and Damian, my son asked me if it was Devil Arena or Neville Arena. I chuckled and thought, Cracker Jack Box Arena.
Conrad probably said Devil Arena.
No. I called it what it is.
Gavin asking, do y'all think Mike White's dogs can make a little noise in Nashville this week? Georgia, he means.
They've definitely played better than I gave them credit for the season.
Yeah, they stumbled for a handful of weeks there, and then they started to pick it up now at the end of the season. So
Georgia is an 11 seed. Will take on Oklahoma coming up on Wednesday. And the winner of that will get Kentucky. The winner of that game will get Alabama.
That Georgia-Oklahoma game will be interesting just because I think Oklahoma still needs a little something to push them over the edge for the tournament. So they're going to be fired up.
JJ says you guys are the most listener-centered show. That's what makes you all so great and why we all appreciate your show so much. Thank you for what y'all do. Thanks, JJ. It's all about you guys. We said that from day one. Alan says the Flags to get to do double duty next year. Cooper's twin brother will be playing college basketball.
Okay, well maybe the Charlotte Hornets will get the number 1 pick, and then
help me out. How he's the twin brother?
How what?
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Does his twin brother not play basketball now? Or maybe he's hurt? I don't know. I didn't even know he was a twin. I didn't know he was a twin.
I didn't either.
He is verbally committed to play at Maine starting next year.
It's his twin brother?
Yes.
So did he just take the season off to go lobster fishing in Maine?
That'd be fun.
Which make a lot of money doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So this says, okay. Yeah. So he was a 3-star player and he committed to Maine coming out of high school.
Alan says Cooper reclassified early.
There we go.
There you
Makes
go.
sense.
Wow.
Ace Flag. What a name.
Cooper and Ace.
Also, hopefully he, is a great basketball player too. That would kind of stink, would it not? That your twin brother gets to reclassify and go to Duke the year ahead of you, and he's the number 1 pick in the draft, and you're like, yeah, I'm going to Maine.
No pressure.
Just maybe a little jealousy.
JB asking, are the rules the same in basketball as in football? When a player gets ejected, has to set out the next game for a half? No.
Somebody said they would like to see that, though.
They did.
Previous texter.
Connor says, how do I go about finding the Chris Stewart overtime win call? He's the best to ever do it, and I hate I missed him calling the last shot. Can you not find that on social media?
Yeah, it should be on Twitter. I believe I saw it on X. And I think you can also just go to rolltide.com and they have the replay of
It won't quite be the
broadcast.
same, but Wednesday at 11 o'clock, presented by Craneworks, we will try to get him to reenact the call.
That'd be good. Couple days to rest his voice, he'll be good to go.
This is from one of our listeners who likes to bet. And he's asking Pat, okay, even I think today may be a day to rest. However, Pat, what do you think? Find us a play, LOL. I could send you some great tickets from JR that I played. What a great weekend. What are we playing tonight?
Okay, let me take a look here.
This is why it doesn't help. Pat was going to refrain tonight.
Well, no, I like how he's acting like he has already
his
looked
arm
at the
is
game.
being twisted.
I've never said. I've never said. I've never.
Let me crack this open and
let
look
me
at my
see.
lines
No.
for the first time today.
Yeah.
If the day ends in Y, I'm ready to go. Hold on. You asked me my opinion. I'm looking.
Okay. Now, I threw out the Navy American game.
Folks down south's not going to like this, but I like Arkansas State in the 2.5. If you want to get crazy, maybe Cleveland State against Youngstown State, maybe. Just a thought.
You're not all over Texas A&M Community College versus Northwestern State?
Not yet. I might get there. But yeah, those are just
Jerry says Pat sounds like he has a cold. Google Navage. It works.
I've tried all sorts of things this weekend. It's not a
Did
cold.
you do the Navage?
No, my wife was telling me to. I was like, I ain't doing that.
Is that nose spray?
It's like nose irrigation.
Yeah, when I was out in Colorado,
when you clean out your sign.
I got the saline,
Mm-hmm.
just a saline rinse, and it worked wonders.
Yeah. Yeah.
All that nastiness out of there.
The pine straw and some stuff did not treat me well.
So the pine straw, though, you don't put it out yourself.
Well, here's the problem. I had somebody else put it out, and then we had 55-mile-an-hour winds.
Yeah.
And had part of my fence fall down. Then had all my other stuff like go all over the place. So I had to get out and do a little work.
How are the Gators?
They were lost in the storm.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know where they are. They're gone.
That's concerning.
It's concerning if you're a resident of Trussville. Yeah, I can't find his Gators. I put out pine straw this weekend. Did not have the same effect, though my lower back is not feeling great.
I would have exchanged my lower back issue with this stuff, but oh well.
So much for us to look forward to in life, Molly.
Can't wait.
It's fun.
This one coming in for the state of North Carolina, only suspended if it's a fighting ejection. Regular F2 is not an automatic suspension. Would have to be SEC imposed.
That makes sense.
Someone asking how deep is Pat's moat? That's a personal question. How deep is your moat? How much do those Gators need? And Johnny says Texas A&M Corpus Christi, not community college.
Oh, that is right. It is Corpus. I just saw Texas A&M CC and I forgot I just went community college.
It's now, what's the other one? Texas A&M East? Used to be, what, Kingsville? Is that right? Keep them rolling in, 205-834.
Can't keep up with all these sister schools. It's too many.
I know it. A lot of text rolling in. Also, your phone calls are welcome. We continue to react. What we saw over the weekend sets you up for championship week and beyond. It's three-man front here on a Monday on Jocks 94.5.
11:45, Jocks 94.5. Pat Landrum, Molly Conrad with you until 2 o'clock. If you're a homeowner, you need to have APS ready to call because there's all sorts of things. As long as you own your home and the fluctuating of temperatures and things of that nature, you're going to need to call APS. Alabama Professional Services at 205-951-9717. Cracks, if they started showing up in your house or maybe your driveway, your sidewalk, or maybe those doors are not closing up to speed. Well, guess what? APS, they can fix your foundation. They can tackle that sinking driveway with their poly-level system. It's quick, it's clean, it looks fantastic. Plus, they can fix those cracks in time on the back of your patio, just in time for the barbecue season. What will impress you about APS is their professionalism, quality of their work, top-notch products and service. So if you're dealing with foundation issues, a wet basement, or sinking concrete, do yourself a favor and call Alabama Professional Services. You can reach them at 205-951-9717 or visit alabamaprofessional.com. Trust me, you'll be glad you did.
We'll get back to your phone calls here on this Reaction Monday. We react to IBOB Part 2 that took place inside of Neville Arena in Auburn. Also, the SEC basketball tournament bracket is set for Nashville, begins Wednesday, and you can hear the full coverage right here on Jocks 94.5. Or if you want to go NCAA tournament and how it's shaping up right now, you can do that. Let's talk to Robert. He's in Greenville. Robert, welcome in. How are you?
Good morning, gentlemen. First of all, I want to give a brief plug about Troy playing tonight for the Sun Belt Conference Tournament Championship against Arkansas State, a former Nate Oates assistant, Brian Robertson. Hopefully, Trojans be able to come out. By the way, they have faced each other twice. They split on the other team's home court, so this is a one-bid league, but the Sun Belt's done some damage in this NCAA tournament in recent years. Is hopefully the Trojans be able to come through. But as far as Alabama Auburn is concerned, look, I think that we need to talk more about how the team around them played so well in spite of the fact that Mark Sears, I should say, only had 9 points. I mean, Grant Nelson, you could tell that he had lift on his jump shot. He had lift on his three-point shot. They were able to, post him up some. I thought the dunk that he had over Dylan Cardwell, I thought really sent a big statement. I also liked the way LeBaron Philon, after what happened at Tennessee, the way he bounced back, made the right decision, get the ball to Sears on the last possession. And Clifford Amari really, I know that Broome had 34 points, but I thought he held his own against him for the most part. He had several big dunks, but also had a few block shots. And I thought the game was really won on the boards. Alabama out-rebounded Auburn by 8. I like to see the turnovers cut down. I didn't know they had turned over 15 times. He had told me that's still a good number even for a high-possession game like Saturday. But as far as Alabama getting a 1 seed is concerned, look, Alabama's beaten 2 projected number 1 seeds at Auburn. And remember the win over Houston earlier in the year. They also won the Big 12. And Alabama has a really strong resume. And I just think that some people are kind of looking at just the one game against Florida. And look, I know Florida's a great team. I think they're dangerous. I think not only they can win all in Nashville, they can win all in San Antonio for the national championship. But Alabama's non-conference schedule is much stronger than Florida's. Florida does not have a single win against a team currently in the field in the non-conference. Alabama's beat Creighton. They beat Houston. They beat Illinois. Arkansas State, if they beat my Trojans tonight, that would be another. It's just that I think that Alabama needs to win a game or two in the SEC tournament to earn that number one seed. And I still believe Arkansas, Oklahoma, and Texas are all 3 of those teams are currently on the bubble right now. And I think if Arkansas and Oklahoma probably need 1 win to lock up a bid, I think Texas, though, needs 2 wins to lock up a bid. And as far as the number ones, I look at not just Alabama, but Florida and Tennessee and Michigan State and Houston all in the running for that last number 1 seed. So we'll see what happens this week. And hopefully the Trojans can come through with a win tonight.
Thank you, Robert. We appreciate it. Yeah, go Trojans. Brian Hodgson was the former Nate Oates assistant that coaches Arkansas State, is who he was referencing. Jerry Palm has just come out with his updated bracketology. And very interesting. And Pat, you tell me what you think this looks like. He's got his bracketology. He's got Duke as a 1 seed overall. He's got Houston as a 1 seed. He's got Auburn as a 1, and he's got Florida as a 1.
Wait, so he has Duke as the number 1 overall seed?
Well, it doesn't say that here. The way that he has it listed in his rankings, though, he's got, with the seeds, he's got Auburn in the South, he's got Duke in the East, Houston in the Midwest, and Florida out West, but does not have opponents for either Auburn or Duke listed. Now, Houston, he's got taking on 16th seed Bryant, and Florida would be taking on 16th seed Omaha.
Who would Auburn have after round 1?
Auburn, after round 1, would have the winner of UConn and Utah State.
Please, basketball gods, give us the UConn-Auburn game, please.
And then after that, you would pair up with either Clemson, McNeese, Oregon, or Akron. Meanwhile, I told you Alabama, he's got listed as a 2 seed. No surprise there. He's got them matched up with Towson in the first round. And they would play the winner of Arkansas and BYU, the 7 and 10 seed. BYU being the 7, Arkansas being the 10. And then particularly, or potentially a matchup with St. John's, who he has listed as a 3 seed, who takes on Northern Colorado, and then also Mississippi State potentially.
Interesting. Well, the USA Today coaches poll just came out a minute ago. Auburn has fallen from number 1 to number 3.
Mm-hmm.
Duke and Houston are number 1 and number 2. Auburn at 3, Florida 4, Tennessee 6, Alabama at number 8. So Alabama doesn't move up any with the win over Auburn. Auburn falls 2 spots to number 3.
Where's Florida?
4.
Would you be interested in seeing who Florida potentially would match up with in the second round?
Oh, boy.
Either 8 seed St. Mary's or 9 seed New Mexico. St. Mary's, that's not a matchup that I welcome if I'm a Florida fan.
No, they're going to play stringent defense. They're going to be tough.
I'm trying to see if there's anything else that's just super interesting. He's got Vanderbilt as a 10 seed. He's got Oklahoma as an 11 seed. And any other SECs. Georgia, he's got listed as a 9 seed. Jerry Palm does. So, very interesting. He's got Kentucky as a 4 seed. They'd be taking on Yale in a first-round matchup.
Yale could do the
just
funniest thing
Just
ever.
saying.
If you're an SEC team, you do not want to see Yale.
No.
And then congratulations, Furman. If they win tonight over Wofford in the SoCon Championship, they will be taking on, according to Jerry Palm, 3 seed Wisconsin.
Hey, Wisconsin's been reeling here lately. They've been stacking up some losses.
Just in time to find their tournament legs.
That's right.
Ole Miss, by the way, Pat, is a 5 seed, and he's got them, that 5-12 matchup against Drake in the first round.
Ooh.
Have fun with that. Howdy tootie. 205-834-9450.
Such love. SEC tournament betting trends. I've already seen a couple of these already. Lines of 7 points or more should be noted for 2 reasons in SEC tournament play. First off, favorites in these games are 32-8 straight up, 23-15-2 against the spread since 2014.
And so just these are the first round games? Whew. Sticking with chalk then.
The bye has proven important in the SEC tournament of late as rested teams are 31-13 straight up. 26-18 against the spread. That's 59% win rate. Totals of 145 or higher have gone 24-12-1. The under the total is 66.7% of the NCAA tournament since 2009.
Oh, okay. That's a good one to know.
SEC title game favorites are in a 7-2 straight up and 6-3 against the spread run since 2015.
That bodes well for Auburn.
And I just saw a few moments ago the latest odds for the basketball tournament from Nashville. Auburn is a plus 150 to win it all. Florida is plus 250. Bama is plus 350. So the Bama has the third best odds.
What was Tennessee at? Do you see that?
5-1.
Okay.
Alabama now has the third best betting odds to win the SEC tournament.
We'll see how it goes in Nashville.
You want to talk about some value? Texas A&M plus 1,400.
Hey, Buzz Williams likes an SEC tournament now.
Also, UAB has the third best odds to win the American.
They do, plus 550.
Trying to find my Patriot League. Is it too late to put in on my futures for the Patriot League?
No.
Which concludes
Go ahead and do it.
Later on tonight. Hour number 3, 3-man front continues.
It is 12 o'clock. Welcome back in. This is 3-Man Front. Pat Landrum, Molly Conrad with you until 2 o'clock. It is Reaction Monday. Spent a lot of time talking about Alabama's victory against the Auburn Tigers in overtime, 93-91. 1-800-239-WJOX. We talked a lot about Grant Nelson. Should that have been a taunting foul in regards to him doing the crane? How about Baker Mazzara being tossed out of the game with a flagrant 2. Was that warranted? And what does Auburn do moving forward in regards to that? I wish I could update the Twitter poll question of the day, Molly, but is it back?
Oh, I never left the screen, so I still had it.
Okay.
As long as I don't refresh it, then I'm good.
Okay. What is the tell everyone the poll question? I'm not really sure how many people can go vote since the X machine apparently is still down.
I have it like in its own tab, and I haven't been touching it.
Okay.
So.
All right.
And the votes have been going up. So that's been updating.
Oh, so some people do have access.
I just
don't have
can't,
access to it, do you?
I just
don't
can't
know.
refresh the screen.
Okay.
But anyway, will Chad Baker-Mazara receive a flagrant 2 foul in the postseason? Yes or no? And right now winning is still yes with almost 66%, no with about 34%.
34% say that he has learned his lesson, Landrum, and he will not do that again.
Maybe people with the blue check mark can vote. Maybe that's how it works. Maybe it's shut down for everyone that doesn't pay, since votes are still coming in somehow.
I guess so. It's been a while since I have seen the old the Twitter.
What?
We're just in no
get
man's
shut
land.
down?
What if something happens? We're not going to know about it.
Elon will explain later on today.
Yeah, he's going to be on Cudlow at 3 o'clock.
He's got an exclusive.
It's been going in and out on my phone. Like it'll work and it'll break again.
This isn't very efficient. That's all
No.
I'm going to say.
Are we blaming the Chinese?
Let me go to TikTok. Let me go to my TikTok. Let me get my news from TikTok.
Go to your TikTok. Go to your TikTok. See if that's still up.
See if my Twitter.
How long has this been, Molly? When did
It happened right after we came on
Twitter
the air.
X go off?
Well, apparently the first reports of it were like at 5 a.m. And then it was working again, and now it's been broken ever since.
Shame. AP poll still hasn't come out. Hopefully that'll be out here soon.
Yeah. You would hope so. Coming up tonight, we do have basketball action here on Jocks 94.5. It begins championship week in the SoCon. Unfortunately, Bucky and the Bulldogs, Sanford not in it. They were eliminated by Furman this past weekend. Furman hosting Wofford in the Battle of South Carolina. They're at Harrah's Cherokee Center in Asheville, North Carolina. Furman is a 1.5-point favorite in that one.
I like the over.
You like the over?
I do.
I've got it listed here, Pat, at 137.5. Not that that would change things, but do you like it all the way? Like if we said if this number is 139.5 points by tip-off, are you still going over?
As long as it's not like 3 or 4 points.
Okay. Also tonight, you have Arkansas State taking on Troy. They're in Pensacola. Arkansas State around a 1.5, 2.5-point favorite. Depends on where you see that one. That game is on ESPN2. And you have some other interesting basketball coming up later. Pepperdine, who Pat mentioned, who had a dreadful regular season. They're making that run, taking on St. Mary's tonight in Las Vegas, an 8 o'clock tip there as well. You can get San Francisco and Gonzaga, 10:30 tonight.
You know what was so weird last night is watching Washington State play in the West Coast Conference.
Yeah, that is weird.
Like what a difference a year makes. You know what I'm saying? I mean, them going from playing in a power league and now playing in the West Coast Conference.
It's disrespectful of the West Coast Conference. It's not a power league. Come on, Pat.
So their head coach came from Eastern Washington, and literally he brought his entire roster from Eastern Washington to Washington State.
Love it.
They look pretty good.
Fair to Midland, you know.
Hey,
San Francisco's got a good basketball program. That's who they were playing last night.
That's a team we've seen in the tournament here recently.
Speaking of, this is kind of interesting. So the Jackson Clarion Legend is they are reporting that a Mississippi State women's basketball practice squad player has violated NCAA sports gambling rules.
Oh no. Practice squad?
She doesn't like what she's seen in practice.
Bite your tongue. It's a male.
He didn't like what he was seeing in practice.
Wait a minute. What?
A male practice squad player whose name has been redacted from the report placed 6 bets from September 28th through 30th worth $10 on NFL and college football games. This sounds like Landrum.
We're getting charged for $10 bets. Oh, man.
I won $4 on Saturday.
This is according to Mississippi State's annual NCAA violations report obtained by the Clarion Ledger through an open record request. None of the bets were placed on Mississippi State games. He began working for the team 4 days prior to placing the bets, according to the documents.
Just 4 days, man? You couldn't have made those bets a week earlier? Come on.
It was in violation of NCAA bylaw 10.3, which prohibits sports wagering for athletes, coaches, and other team personnel. MSU increased its sports wagering rules education for all male practice players and now requires them to sign an acknowledge form. The individual also deactivated his sports betting account. $10 when he gets busted.
Wait, so he's a practice player on the men's team or the women's
team? The women's team, which
okay,
I was going to bring up.
That was confusing me.
Don't know if I had remembered that you had men that were playing on practice squads.
Matter of fact, I saw a huge thing on South Carolina's got a male practice squad members.
Okay.
So that's the only reason that I did not raise question, because I actually see that a lot of teams have that.
Okay.
Golly, if you're a male player, how good do you have to be to participate in South Carolina's women's practices?
That's what I'm saying.
Getting humbled every day.
Do they have like walk-on trials for the men's team, and whoever doesn't make the cut, they're like, hey, we got a spot for you on the practice squad for the women's team. You got to be pretty.
Do you
pretty
get
darn good.
NIL to be on that practice squad?
I'm gonna guess not.
Not if you're placing $10 bets on.
Probably.
So think about that.
That's a good point. It probably would have bet more than $10 if you had NIL.
6 bets, $10 total.
Total.
That is my account.
Oh man.
A total of $10.
Total of $10.
I know who.
Do we know if it was on South Carolina football or just? I know
This
it said
is Mississippi
NFL.
State.
Or sorry, Mississippi State football.
Well, you're really confused on this story.
This is really throwing me for a loop here.
I don't think you. Yeah, maybe it was Mississippi State. I hope you faded them.
Yes.
No Mississippi State games.
Okay.
It was NFL and college football games. None of the bets were placed on Mississippi State games.
Okay. But it could have been SEC games, just not ones involving Mississippi State.
Correct.
Oh man, I mean, yeah, that's what $1.50 per wager you're putting in there, and now you're getting busted for it. That's.
I'm just trying to see if
that's a wake-up call to
anywhere
anybody
with the
else.
practice squad players, if they have any kind of database where I can get names and we can start trying to narrow it down.
Start trying to narrow it down. Well, Molly will know what high school they went to,
I
who
bet I
their
can figure it
significant
out.
other is. Yeah.
Yep.
We'll figure all this stuff out.
That's tough to get popped there. Why
I'm telling you though, I mean,
why are you guys on probation?
4 days before or 4 days after getting the spot? You didn't like any of the games the week before?
Well, NCAA, they're still around. You still got to watch the U.S. integrity folks keeping an eye on college athletics and keeping the game pure. Lily White.
Pure. It's a driven snow.
Mm-hmm.
1-800-239-WJOX, the courtesy GMC text line, 205-834-9450.
Yes, the text line is open, and Michael asking, what would a $10 bet win if South Carolina made a long shot miracle run to win in Nashville?
Okay, hold on.
That would be a nice payout.
Okay, let's see.
Right now,
South
plus
Carolina,
25,000.
Yeah, it's 250 to 1. Texas is 200 to 1 to win the SEC.
What's LSU? Do you have that in front of you?
Yes, 200 to 1.
Okay. So they're the same as Texas.
So LSU, Mississippi State, Georgia, Vanderbilt, and Texas, all 200 to 1. South Carolina, 250 to 1.
So if he bet $10, that would win him, what, 25? 25K?
No.
No, not 25K.
2,500?
2,500.
It's not too shabby right there.
Maybe a better bet if you took Texas.
Well, that's what I was thinking. If you're taking those plus 200 teams, Texas with Trey Johnson,
I'm surprised LSU is 200.
Well, I thought they would have been below.
Yeah.
Like, I thought they would have been either with South Carolina or between South Carolina and the next group, like Texas. Stranger things have happened.
Yeah. SEC tournament, we've seen it a few times. Or a team we didn't think had any business being there would be there. Take Georgia the year that you had the tornado. They had to move things over to Georgia Tech.
I mean, obviously they were a better team that year, but I mean, who had South Carolina going to the Final Four a handful of years ago? Not many people.
No.
So.
Just like not many people had NC State going last year.
Or Alabama. That's why we love March, right?
Who will be that team this year?
Cinderella.
Sounds like Pepperdine if they get into the tournament based on what Pat was telling us earlier.
You just stay up late and watch them tonight, Conrad.
I would do that.
Don't sleep on Navy.
Sorry, honey. I got to watch
Good
Pepperdine.
storyline. Most of their campus was burned.
You know that Sonny Smith coached at Pepperdine?
Really?
I did not realize that.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
It's a very cool tie.
Beautiful place from what I hear.
Just sounds like it would be a nice campus. Pepperdine just sounds like it'd be fancy.
Beautiful.
It does. Does it not sound like it would be fancy?
Text rolling in 205-834-9450. And Steve from Tuscaloosa says, will we get a report from Molly's Bachelorette weekend? Molly?
Well, first and foremost, we all still like each other. And we were making fun of you guys for that in the car coming back because I said, yeah, all my coworkers thought that we were all going to get in a fight and all hate each other by the end of the weekend. But no, we're all still great friends. No fights, no drama.
So you met new girls on this trip?
No, I knew everyone.
Oh, you knew everyone.
Yeah, I knew everyone. We had a good time.
What was the highlight of the weekend?
We didn't go to Wet Willie's. Sorry, Don Don. But we did go to Savannah Smiles, which is like the dueling piano bar in Savannah.
Oh, okay.
And that was really fun. That was probably our favorite
Did they
spot.
play Don't Stop Believing?
I think they did.
Do you remember?
I'm trying to remember all the songs. They played so many songs, and we were there for a long time. So I heard a lot of songs.
Did y'all dance?
Of course we danced.
Did y'all end up having outfits or anything that I didn't know if someone else had coordinated that and got y'all like shirts or something to wear out?
We didn't do that. We just did like all of us wear pink or like all of us wear black. And then obviously the bride would wear white because she's the bride.
Gotcha.
No sashes or anything though. No matching shirts. I did see a group though. They were also there. They did wigs. They each wore different color wigs.
Wigs?
And the bride wore a white bob.
Okay.
So that was really funny.
I like that.
Yeah.
We did pirate hats on mine. That one worked pretty well.
Did you shave your face? I thought you were trying to grow it.
I did for the trip.
Oh.
It'll grow back though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Being reminded that Alabama women's basketball also has male players on their practice squad.
I'm glad we could educate Conrad, his male chauvinistic attitude towards the world.
This text reads, had the pleasure of watching the end of the game with some very overconfident Auburn fans, won myself $200, but was very disappointed in the fans throwing stuff onto the court. I think we will have two SEC teams in the Final Four, Auburn and Florida. Okay.
Pretty good bet right now.
Jimmy says if Auburn and Alabama meet in the conference tournament, Chad Baker-Mazara will get a level 3 technical foul.
Ooh.
First of its kind.
Was that like banned?
First of its kind.
That is when you light something on fire.
You know, I was having this conversation with a suit prior to the show today. I am interested just the way that things have changed and especially how dominating Auburn has been. And now that Alabama saw what happened last year by losing in Nashville, like how many Alabama and Auburn fans are going to be spending money to go to Nashville
for
this weekend's tournament? Because you could say, look, both teams are going to the NCAA tournament. Let's save our money. Let's go to Lexington. Let's go to, what other location that potentially you're going to go play in. So
that's an interesting point. Yeah, I could.
Last year, the day of the game, the suit was telling me that he had some friends that got tickets for like $40 to get into the championship game.
I remember that. Yep, I remember him saying that. You think there'll be a good Florida contingent? Maybe just carrying some of that momentum.
I think Florida fans are probably pretty pretty fired up. Now, because in most of the projections, Landrum, don't they have Florida going west?
Yes.
So that would
This
be
is kind of your chance to see them in the postseason, maybe.
Yeah, that would be a...
Going back to who's going to go and who's going to spend money, though, I think Nashville, that's a lot easier place, especially for people in this state, to say if you're up in the air, yeah, we'll go up there, but it's Nashville, and just everybody, they view that as a fun town, and we'll find other stuff to do, no matter how much basketball we watch.
Well, I was mainly thinking, I definitely think if they get to the semis or the finals, then yeah. I just don't know how many people are going to.
Yeah, I mean,
there's a lot of places up there you're gonna have to have it like at least a 2-night minimum.
Oh yeah, yeah, it's gonna be crazy trying to get a hotel. But I mean, and I know it was baseball, but I just go back to last year in Hoover. There were a ton of Florida fans that came up here to support them in the SEC baseball tournament. So I would expect something similar in Nashville.
Pat, it's growing. You had the first official bet by one of our listeners this past weekend is Austin. He says, first formal wager I've ever made. Please, Lord, this is too much fun. Help me. I don't want to become addicted.
Oh, boy.
He took Alabama plus a 7.5 on Saturday.
That's good.
Would
you start off with winning, too?
Yeah.
Talk about an
ticket.
addiction.
The ticket cost him $20. He won $17.40.
Okay.
And I hope that you're not addicted.
Is that the only one he had on the ticket?
That's it.
Good for him.
Just stop there.
I was about to say, you're done. You
Don't
won.
ever bet again.
Go out a winner.
You're 100%. Not many people can say that. Appreciate the text. We'll continue to get to those throughout the course of the show.
1-800-239-WJOX. This is Reaction Monday. Love to hear from you on this Monday. This is Jocks 94.5.
12-21, three-man front, maybe a little scout. According to Jerry Palm, Alabama would match up potentially with Towson. You got Towson coming up tonight, taking on Delaware, the Blue Hens. 5 o'clock at Care First Arena there in Washington. Towson, a 6.5-point favorite. Pat, want to jump in on that one?
Do not.
Okay, you knew the nickname, so I figured you know a little bit more about
I know the Tigers, but I will not be looking at that tonight.
800-239-WJOX. Let's go to Don. Don, are you okay?
I'm fine. I'm fine, my friend. And Landrum, how are you today?
I'm great.
Hey, Don, listen, I'm a loyal listener to Morning Jocks.
Yes.
And
yes, sir.
I heard somebody just eviscerate you on the
on
the airwaves this morning, and I thought you handled it with class when you came back on after that individual.
Thank you, Pat. And I got a question for you, Pat, since you heard that. What is wrong with me congratulating my friends about them winning?
Nothing.
You know, Damon got on to about me being a gracious loser and congratulating. Conrad would tell you, I texted Conrad right after the game was over, texted Hastings. I was with several social tackle people down there. And by the way, shout out to my new Auburn friend that's a loyal listener to Jocks, and he recognized my voice. Shout out to Kevin that I met Saturday. And Landrum, I got to tell you, that your advertiser, your sponsor, Ramblers, that is the nicest sports bar that I've ever been into in all my life in Birmingham.
Thank you for saying
fantastic.
that. Yeah, it's outstanding.
And your boy Jay wanted me to tell you hello. Him and his staff just did an outstanding job. Shout out to Gabby down there. And I'll tell you what, they got some pretty girls working down there, fellas.
Okay.
All right. Hey, I was just curious. So, like, when the game ended, when Sears hit that shot, what was the reaction like inside?
Oh, the place went crazy, and one of my Alabama fans took my Auburn hat off and kissed me on top of the head.
Oh, really?
Wow, really?
But I went around the room and congratulated every Alabama fan that I met and everything. And to the guy that called in today, and Conrad, you read that. Well, actually, Pat, you heard it. I'm not a fan that's going to go lock myself in a closet when I lose. Okay, and I think we all know about who I'm talking about, right? Right, guys.
Yeah, I appreciated the sportsmanship, Don, and you got one, we got one, and hopefully we get a tiebreaker at some point.
Yeah, maybe we can play again next Sunday, Conrad.
Maybe so, Don. Maybe so.
It's a little too soon.
Hey, but I'm really curious. Is Molly listening?
I'm right here.
Hey, how was your trip?
It was fun. We had such a good time. Love Savannah.
Okay. Did you go to the places I was telling you to?
No, we didn't go to Wet Willie's. I'm sorry.
Okay. Did you do the riverboat?
No, we didn't do the riverboat either.
Did you do anything that Don told you to do?
He gave you a list of things and you did nothing.
Well, a lot of it was already planned when we got there.
Well, I can imagine it was, but I'm glad you had fun, Molly, and all the girls have a good time.
We all had a great time. No fights, like I said. Unlike Conrad and his friends.
Yeah, well, that's right. Well, Pat and Landrum and everybody, I did not get in any fights. I got along with everybody. And matter of fact, there's going to be, I talked about 9 or 10 of your listeners. And I think Social Taco better be ready in a couple of weeks. So there's a lot going to be going on that day. But
we're ready tomorrow.
Everybody tomorrow.
All right, sounds good.
Tomorrow. Okay. Hey, guys, thank y'all very much. And hey, War Eagle, we're going to be fine.
All right. Thank you, Don. Appreciate the phone call. He's talking about the fans that go in a closet after they lose. Talking about Conrad, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Conrad vows never to go to another Alabama game in Norman, Oklahoma. Stuff like that.
People get mad at me for being too critical when Alabama loses.
Well, Conrad was really quick to put a video out with that little.
Well, he was, wasn't he? Yeah, that urine-soaked beanie.
Yeah.
Had
why is it urine?
Traces of feces on it.
Wow.
Ew.
Hasn't been living in my shower.
Everywhere. Huh?
I wasn't living in the shower for the.
I thought you were using it as a loofah.
I was not. But hey, everyone, on Friday we were talking about maybe it was premature beanieism, and we didn't want that with, not waiting for the NCAA tournament, and brought it out at the right time apparently.
I just don't think you would have done a video if Alabama would have lost.
No, but speaking of videos, the one that you showed me and Molly, we need to get that for Conrad for Christmas.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
What was it?
Don't worry about it.
It'll be a surprise?
Yeah.
Okay.
Video is quite disturbing, but the product looks like it works.
Hey, you know what? You know what I just thought of?
Wonderful.
You know, I've tried a lot of stuff to try to get me decongested.
The fish might help.
Bingo.
Ugh.
The fish?
Uh-huh.
You gonna do that?
I mean, I was thinking he would do it.
Oh, he would
stand
do
right
it.
next to him. And
Do we
see
do
if he
that?
would-
We do that this week. I think we just do it this week. Let's go ahead and do that this week.
Sure.
Let's knock it
Okay.
out this week.
I'm all for
the
it.
Conrad Fish Challenge. Which day are we going to do that?
Whatever you want. Don't look at him. He's not going to get. I mean, we're planning this, not him.
Oh, I know. I was just looking. You don't have
Conrad
any
looks so sad
any
right now.
conflicts, anything like that?
Any allergies?
You just let me know.
Do we do it after the show?
Preferably not
I say
today.
we do it live during the show.
Preferably not today.
We do it out.
Why did you? Oh, because you just ate tuna, didn't you?
Oh,
Oh.
so gross.
I'm so glad I can't smell today.
I'm just. He loves the tuna in a pouch.
17 grams of protein.
Again,
It's
no.
nasty.
But it's good for you.
Mm.
I may have too much mercury in my blood, but you know, other than that,
You're
I'm
not even
it's
sure
fine.
that that's tuna.
It's like shrugging.
Works.
It could
works
be
the same for
Asian
me.
catfish.
It's the best Asian catfish I've ever had. Then
Oh, you're so nasty. 800-239-WJOX. All right, we'll come up with a day and a time and set that. We need to knock that out at the conference tournament.
where are
I
you
don't-
going to do it at
The
the
quarry.
square? Oh yeah, the rock quarry.
No, I don't think we need to do it in the square. We don't need the city of Homewood after us. I think we do it right out here in the parking lot.
I'm fine with that. And Pat, you want to be a part of it, so it'll clear your sinuses up.
As long as it's probably, if I still have this issue in a couple of days, I might be going to the hospital or something. But
What?
I'm just saying, if it doesn't clear up in a couple of days,
Well, then we'll go do it at the hospital. It'll be fine.
maybe when we do it outside, our friend the beaver will come back. The wet beaver.
He probably will.
Think about all the wildlife that's
Everybody-
going to attract.
Everybody misses the wet beaver.
Yeah. He was fun that day.
He was fun.
I did see a cat out here the other day. It was not a bobcat,
Oh,
Molly.
yeah, I saw a bobcat out
Whatever,
there.
Molly.
I did. I took a video of it.
Big fat cat walking across our parking lot. Molly's like, bobcat.
Me and Lange were trying to catch that wet beaver.
He's elusive. Very elusive. Let's go to Glenn. He's in Denver. Hey, Glenn.
Hey, guys. How are you doing?
Doing great. How are you?
Hey, Glenn, what's happening?
Good. Hey, sorry I haven't called. I have been horribly sick with the worst sinus infection I've had in like 23 years.
You're talking to Pat. How do you help him? He's got a nose that sounds like he's on the booger sugar.
You know, all I can tell you, I went on Augmentin for 7 days,
Oh,
but I
boy.
knocked it out. Now I'm back on something else for another 10 more days.
Don't you love
It's
the
been rough.
Augmentin? Because the Augmentin is supposed to help obviously take out what's ailing you from a sinus infection. And then, of course, Augmentin does other things to your body.
Does it boost your sex drive? Is that what you're saying?
No, you spend a lot of time in the bathroom.
Oh.
Well, I will tell you this.
That's not
I do believe it's supposed to help with your March Madness picks. That's what I
Augmentin
think
does?
it's good for. Yes, it's going to help. It's going to help your March Madness picks. You're going to be a great picker in that.
Oh,
Hey,
okay.
hey guys, I one thing about the game is important, and I didn't catch some of the shows with the client, but one thing that Bama has issues with is when they're on defense, that when the ball carrier comes up and they when you do the defensive switch and who's going to pick up who, and Bama's kind of struggled with that all year long. But the last play of the game, when Sears got the ball, and if you watch it, Phelan throws it to him, then Sears comes back around. Auburn's Jones did not. First of all, he was a little bit too late coming back over to Sears, and then he took the wrong angle back to the lane to block him. And I have the video up now, and I'm watching this over and over again. And I don't want to pick on one guy, but one thing, guys, is like especially in college, when they're going to do a defensive switch, that has to get practiced over and over and over again. I know Bama struggled with it. In fact, during the game, I was telling my wife that Bama's defensive switching is horrible. And then on the last play of the game, it was Auburn's turn to do a horrible defensive switch. And I kind of feel sorry for Jones, but a little bit too late coming back over. And then the angle he took was not deep enough. So I know Sears took a great shot, But have you guys watched that last play over and over again? Do you see this?
Yeah, I just watched it. It's tough to tell. He tied up with Sears. Sears flares out. You've got Miles Kelly out there, and not sure exactly what should have happened. But yeah, Denver Jones was a step behind there.
Well, it looked like they might have almost expected Sears to pass it off one more time instead of Mark Sears being the one that was going to take the shot, and I think that threw him off.
Well, even Sears, but if you pause it, as soon as Sears comes back, I think Jones should have been just a step, a little bit, one more step further back so he could get a better view on Sears. And the likelihood of Sears making a 3-point, right there was really would have been a poor shot selection. And if Jones would have taken another step back and had Sears in his full vision and could have been further out to the right as soon as Sears had moved, because Sears wasn't going back. Sears was not going to go back to his right. He's either going to stay where he was or go to the left. That was his only choice. And Jones should have known that. And during the switch, he should have stayed on him and assumed, okay, Sears is going to go to his left. That's the right angle for a shot. And he could have already been moving that direction. Because even if Sears had gone to the left and even gone back to the right, he would have been blocked. So I hate it for the Auburn fans. I know it came down to that one play. Sears did a great, the last second play, and also looking at the other Bama players, spread out really well. The big white guy down on the slot, perfect position for him. I love it. But guys, this is where it comes down to, like, defensive switching. Guys, it really matters. And I think Auburn's going to work on it. I know Bama's been struggling with this. I hope it doesn't bite Bama in the tournament. It could, especially if they have to go up against St. John's. Anyway, I kind of feel sorry for Jones, but don't let Sears have the ball. If you're gonna let him have the ball, you better be sure he's tucked away far enough out he can't do anything with it.
Yep, did a good job on him for most of the game, but you can't give him that shot with 4 seconds left and high percentage shot like that. Yeah.
I don't want to pick on Auburn, but did they not know, like, we got to contain him in that far side of the court and leave him there? Why was that not discussed?
It's a good point. Glenn, we got to run. We always appreciate you chiming in, and you tell Mike Johnson out there in Denver we say hello.
I will do that. Thanks, guys.
All right, thanks so much, Glenn, our buddy listening there on the Jocks app in Denver, Colorado. More of your texts coming in. We'll continue Reaction Monday. Rolls on. 3-man front, Jocks 94.5.
1238, Jocks 94.5 on this Reaction Monday. Thanks for making us a part of your Monday. Hope Monday is going well for you. It's championship week. You can hear all these championship games right here on Jocks 94.5 as the week progresses.
Well, we've been talking about a lot of great basketball going on here across the state of Alabama, and we want to congratulate the Wallace State men's and women's basketball teams for both winning the ACCC championships over the weekend. The men's team gained the championship by defeating Southern Union 98-90 for their second straight conference title and their fifth overall. And the women's team beat Shelton 49-46 as they won their first women's hoops title in 14 years. Both teams are now advancing to their respective national tournaments. For more information on the Wallace State Hansville Lions, go visit athletics.wallacestate.edu.
So the end of the Alabama-Auburn game, it was a very special game, and it was incredible. Both teams sending the game into overtime. And if you were listening here on Jocks 94.5 in overtime, you had an opportunity to hear what the Auburn network sounded like. This was some exciting plays by Andy Burcham.
Pettiford across midcourt, gets to the left wing, lobs it to Broom at the top, kicks it left wing for Tahad. Long three to tie it, short. Rebound, Pettiford to Jones. To the corner. Janai to tie it. Yes! Holy cow! We're tied at 91. Janai has hit 2 threes in overtime, and Alabama calls a timeout. Filing up the floor. They're going to work for a final shot. 9 seconds in overtime. 8 seconds. Filing drifts left side. Out at the top with 5. Sears at the right wing. Sears drives free throw line down the lane, running good, and Alabama wins it at the buzzer. He turned the corner, went right down the middle of the lane, and he scores, and Alabama has won it. They'll review it, but I'm pretty certain they got rid of the ball in time. They're going to review it. Some stuff has come out of the Auburn student section. We don't need that.
Bruce Pearl, after the game, had this to say about his Tigers losing to his cross-state rival.
So we talked about in the locker room about the things that we did well and the things that we did not do well, the things that we needed to do to win that game. Obviously, those are two teams that are capable of getting to the Final Four. Both teams stepped up in a lot of ways and played great basketball. I thought Janai Broom demonstrated to the country why he's the National Player of the Year, or should be, in my opinion. And as I explained to Janai after the game, that's what I expect from him. And so it was great to see him step up, and just need him to step up, continue to step up, because I know it was great to see him do that, be capable of that. Denver Jones, playing on a bad wheel, does a phenomenal job holding Sears to 9 points. 7 prior to the last one. I don't know how you could do much better job there defensively. We should have had a switch on that last possession. We did not execute it, and as a result, he got downhill left where he's going to score. I hadn't gotten downhill left pretty much all game long. I thought that Miles obviously had a run there where he shot the ball. But as a team, I thought we had just too many defensive breakdowns, too many things that we talked about trying to do that we did not do, that we weren't locked into either in a scout. And as a result, they had some better looks at the rim. They got downhill. They got the offensive rebounding, very similar to what Texas A&M did.
That was Coach Bruce Pearl after the game. Meanwhile, Nate Oates talking about how his team bought into this game. Yeah, maybe some guys could have used a rest, but this is the IBOB. This is what Coach Oates had to say.
I met with them guys earlier in the week after we lost to Florida. I asked them how their bodies were, kind of explained we've got the bye to Friday wrapped up. The only thing still in the books is a 3 or 4. You guys want to play everybody against Auburn? It was a resounding, yeah. We don't like those guys. We owe them one. We're playing. We're getting a win. So which is what I wanted to hear, but I wanted them to make that decision. They did. They brought it. I think it was huge. It's definitely not a game Auburn was okay with losing. They put everybody out there and played them as many minutes as they could to get the win. So for our seniors to come in here on the last game of the regular season and win at Auburn. You know, I think gives them some confidence. It means a lot for those guys. It kind of makes up for a few of these losses we've had in this tough 7-game stretch, and now we just got to get everybody rested, healthy, bodies fresh, ready to go in Nashville.
That was Coach Oates after the game. How about Mark Sears? Hits the game-winning shot. He only had 9 points. More importantly, he had 0 turnovers. None, which that has been something that has reared its head at times during the season. Here's Mark Sears after the game.
I think it was a good play call because, it caused a lot of confusion, and they didn't know if they, earlier in the game, they were switching everything guard to guard. So, I did a quick handoff to Barron. They didn't switch, and I was able to get downhill with my left hand, and I was able to get it off and with enough time. So, it was a pretty good play.
Thanks, Mark.
Yeah, because Oates is kind of taking it on his chin himself, admitting the last couple losses that it's been on him because he just did not, like the Tennessee game, did not use a timeout where they could not get the ball in, took the 5 count, and then all of a sudden Tennessee gets the ball, get the shot past half court. So Alabama gets the win, 93-91.
Was that legitimate, him asking? Do you think it was? Like, everybody, you want to go full go, or some of you guys want limited minutes?
Well, so for clarity, I think he was saying that he asked Mark Sears and Grant Nelson specifically kind of what I guess is the voice of the team, what he thought from them. Maybe he did ask everybody individually, but no. I mean, what do you do if you're the coach and the players come back and say, yeah, coach, we want to rest for the Auburn game? What do you do at that point? Okay.
And I like the fact that he admitted that everybody was like, well, we don't like those guys. We want to play.
Yeah, you shouldn't.
Well, yeah, you shouldn't like them.
Mm-mm.
Just like if, and I'm not saying, who knows, maybe if it was a different team, but if Auburn's playing a different team on Saturday, are they resting some guys? Maybe so, but it's the IBOB.
Well, it is that, and not to mention the fact that both teams coming off a loss.
Yes, that definitely plays a role.
So Auburn will have the first game of the day in Nashville on Friday. In the quarterfinals, they will either have South Carolina, Arkansas, or Ole Miss. Meanwhile, Alabama will have the final game on Friday. They will either play Oklahoma, Georgia, or Kentucky.
Yeah, and just prepare yourself because I know on the schedule it says that Alabama's going to start at 8 o'clock at night. That game's not starting until probably closer to 9. So
yeah. Meanwhile, UAB, they lose yesterday. It did not affect their seeding by losing to Tulane, but UAB now plays the final game on Friday night.
Yeah, and they'll play the winner of UTSA and East Carolina.
East Carolina had beat UAB earlier this season. That was in North Carolina. So this will be on a neutral floor there in Fort Worth.
Yeah, and UTSA is a team that gave them all they wanted here in Birmingham. If you remember, Vasquez had to hit some free throws late to win that game at Bartow. But UTSA is also a team that's beaten North Texas. They're not a physical team, but they can shoot it when they choose to shoot it. And then East Carolina, as Pat mentioned. So hopefully the Blazers can get a win in the quarterfinals on Friday, and then they'll play the winner of North Texas. And I'm presuming that would be North Texas and either Wichita State or South Florida. Is that right?
No, it's actually either Tulsa or Temple.
Tulsa or Temple. Okay. That's right. Because you have South Florida and Wichita State. They would be in the Tulane side?
Yeah, they play the winner of South Florida and Wichita plays Memphis.
Okay. All right.
And then Tulane awaits either Charlotte, Rice, or FAU.
Fun times there at Dickey's. A lot of fun times. A lot of texts coming in as well. 205-834-9450. We will get to those texts as we continue the Monday edition of Three Man Front and Jocks 94.5. Put the bracket out.
So, Conrad, Molly beat you to the punch. She had already sent me those wonderful Baltimore Orioles uniforms.
Yeah.
I like them, but orange is my favorite color. So
They look like traffic cones.
They
do.
really
They
do.
They do.
That's a good description of that.
Easy to spot on the field, Molly.
Very easy.
Any more Yankees gone down to the injured reserve list in the last 5 minutes?
No, not in the last 5 minutes. We're only down a DH, a third baseman, and two of our top five.
Well, we got a
pitchers.
third baseman. If you're willing to pay the freight, you can have Arenado if you want him.
Good. We will trade you. Which one of our injured players would you like?
No, I mean the Cardinals are all about just give us some young guys, give us some folks from your Puerto Rican educational league or whatever you got down there in the Caribbean.
Well, the Yankees have to hold on to those guys for 5 years, never promote them, and then when they're worth nothing, trade them away. So that's how we like to do business.
So Garrett Cole's waiting second opinion.
Yes, but Tommy Johns was recommended.
Okay.
Giancarlo has something wrong with his elbows. He said he's going to have
Does it cause him to strike out?
surgery.
Maybe they ought to check his eyesight.
Yeah, a lot of things I could check with him. Yeah, so really ready for the season to start.
You think Giancarlo ever juiced?
Yeah. All natural.
That's what I was thinking.
With how stiff he moves, I mean, I don't know. He's the least athletic athlete. Like, just when you look at him, he looks physically fit, and then you watch him, like, run. You're like, oh.
It's very awkward.
Yes.
Kind of like Bambi on ice.
Yes.
It's like a bodybuilder who had never played a competitive sport.
Kinda, yeah. Just watching him
You
run
put
the
him out
bases
there.
and things. I mean, the dude pulled his hamstring like twice in the last 2 years running the bases. I mean, just
Well, if you don't stretch, it can happen.
gonna be a fun year. Can't wait.
So how was
I pulled two
Barron?
quads in slow pitch softball.
How's Behringer worked out in spring training?
Bellinger?
Sorry.
He's been solid.
How about Goldie?
Solid.
They good team guys?
Great locker room presence.
That's what you need.
Great locker room presence. Aaron Judge hasn't gotten hurt, so there's still some hope alive.
So we can give you Sonny Gray and Arenado. You want them?
Yep. Yep. Just need warm bodies at this point.
Oh, wow.
Well, Profar's banged up for us. So I don't know. Why even play a season?
3 weeks away, right? Or 2.5 weeks away.
No, we got March 18th. We got Cubs and Dodgers coming up
overseas.
Oh, I forgot they're doing
that game's going to count.
Yeah.
Not traveling all that way for an exhibition
Are
game.
they just doing one game or are they doing a little series?
It might be 2 games.
Okay.
You guys want to hear some text?
I love text.
Absolutely.
205-834-9450. Richard chimes in. He says, I'm a high school basketball referee. I understand the importance of getting it right. And I know everything that happens the last 2 minutes of a college game gets reviewed. But the fact the referees in the Alabama-Auburn game had to review Mark Sears' game-winning shot is the pinnacle of absurdity. I agree.
Seemed pretty clear.
Got to do it, though, now. Now we just review everything. And they still don't get it all right.
The ones that I love are because gambling is such a big thing now that even when a game is 22 points,
oh yeah,
it's out of hand, and somebody heaves one up from a half court and they hit it at the buzzer, before everybody goes to shake hands because they need to go up the scores table. Because that happened recently. I think it was a UCLA game. I did not play that one, Conrad. It was just I was just watching it, and I was like, yeah, I know what they're doing now. They're absolutely going over the table because they want to make sure that point total and what the final point spread was and all that kind of fun stuff.
You'll see a lot of bad beats, especially this time of year.
This one coming in saying, I hear a lot of people saying Auburn invented the crane kick and Grant Nilsson should have gotten a T for taunting. Talking about you, Philip Marshall, he says here. John Mechie and Bryce Young started doing the crane pose as a celebration, paying homage to Karate Kid. When Auburn was up 10-0 in the 2021 Iron Bowl, they did it all game, mocking Alabama's players. Mechie got the last laugh, doing it after the 4 overtime 2-point conversion. Ever since then, Auburn has done it. Alabama did not invent the crane pose, but it was original to their team. Auburn has continued to mock them, rent-free.
Okay.
The crane kick is something that Danielson had to perfect in Karate Kid 1. You remember when he was there on the beach.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think about Joseph Goodman's statement that Auburn is, he asked the question, is Auburn too dirty to win the national championship?
I don't even know what that means.
That is very on brand for the kind of headlines that he writes. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I'm thinking about some of the national title winners in the past. And
I mean, now is it
you've had
possible
some-
that he gets ejected in a game and it causes Auburn to lose like last
Sure.
year against Yale? That is absolutely possible, but
Is that where he's going with that?
I don't think the team's dirty as necessarily as it's one player that has to learn how to control his emotions. And
See, I would definitely not describe them as being a dirty team at all.
No.
Posey asking, does Conrad like Guardians of the Galaxy? Seems his bumper music is influenced by their tracks. I'm not complaining. I'm just curious.
It is actually funny you said that because I had never seen Guardians of the Galaxy until a few months ago, and I watched it for the first time, and I have played a lot of the songs from the soundtrack. Very good soundtrack.
And someone asking, wasn't How Deep Is Your Moat a Bee Gees song? How Deep Is Your Love was. I see what you did there. By the way, someone reporting that they saw one of Pat's pet alligators.
I don't know.
Roaming around Trustful. Hour number 4, 3-man front next. One o'clock here on 3-Man Front. We continue to react to what happened over the weekend. Auburn is no longer your AP number 1. New AP poll coming out today. The polls coming out for whatever they mean right now, seeding purposes. They really don't mean anything, but Auburn falls a couple of spots. They are now number 3 in the country behind Duke. They're at number 1. Also, Houston at number 2. Joe Lunardi of ESPN, bracketologist, still has Auburn as his number 1 overall. You got Jerry Palm that also has Auburn as his number one. Alabama resting comfortably on the 2 line. Texas A&M is also one of those teams as you start looking at particular seed lines. Texas A&M is one of those teams, Conrad, that has helped themselves here in the past few weeks.
Yeah, no doubt about it, especially the win over Auburn. That's going to do wonders for them in their seeding. Quickly for the AP poll, just a quick rundown. You do have Auburn falling to 3. Duke's at 1. They have 52 first-place votes. Houston at number 2. They have 5 first-place votes. Auburn 3 with 4 first-place votes. And then you have Florida 4th, Alabama 5th. They were 8th in the coaches poll, so Alabama moves up a couple spots from where they were last week at number 5. You have Tennessee at number 8. They fell 4 spots this week in the AP poll. You have Texas A&M at 14. They're up 8. Kentucky at 15. They're up 4 spots as well. Missouri falls 6 spots. They're now number 21. And those are your SEC teams in the field right now. You brought it up, though, Landrum, with Drake and that being a potentially tricky matchup for Ole Miss if that's where they end up with. Drake actually is the 26th team in the country. They have the most, I guess, also receiving votes if you look at the AP poll. So Drake right there knocking on the door. I think that's going to be a good NCAA tournament upset pick for a lot of people, Andrew.
For sure. And if you want to enjoy the tournament, you want to enjoy college basketball, the NBA, a lot of different sports, look no further than our friends there at Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the daily app that I tell you about for interacting with your friends, having fun on the games that you're watching. You can do it, and it's daily fantasy matchups. Now, all you need to do, this is what is important to remember. Go to Prize Picks. You download the app today. Set up your account. When you do so, make sure you enter promo code WJOX. When you do that, your first $5 play, you're going to get $50 kicked back instantly to your account. So the first step is download the Prize Picks app there on your phone, or you can find it there online. You download it, you set up your account, and you go ahead and enter promo code WJOX. When you do that, your first $5 play, win or lose, you're going to get $50 instantly back to the account. Prize Picks, a great way to win 1,000 times your money. We have all kinds of great listeners here at Jocks that have taken me up on this offer, and they're winning as well. Tonight, my particular lineup, we do have the Sun Belt Conference Championship game going on. Miles Rigby is one of the players that is profiled tonight by Prize Picks, and it says today 12 points, more or less. You just pick more or less on these matchups that they set out for you. And you say, do you think that Miles Rigby of Troy will score more than 12 points or less than 12 points? I'm looking at his game log, Conrad, and as I look back in the 2 matchups that Troy has had this year with Arkansas State, the first matchup, Miles Rigby was 0-for-3 from the field. So that would not have been one. And then look at Arkansas State in the second matchup that they had, and he was not particularly good in that one. So you know what? I'm going to say less than 12 points tonight for Miles Rigby. And then also I'm going to go with the game featuring St. Mary's and Pepperdine. I'm going to go with Paulius Morauskas. You familiar with him?
No, but Pat should be, or no, he's for St. Mary's.
He's a big forward.
Not Pepperdine.
He's a big forward, 9.5 points, more or less, and I'm going to go more on that one.
There you go. St. Mary's is a almost 20-point favorite in that one. So
download the Prize Picks app today. Once again, WJOX is the promo code. You pick more or less on at least 2 matchups. There's a chance to win 1,000 times your money, but make sure you enter that promo code WJOX to get and take advantage of all of the great perks that they're offering to you as we enter championship week and beyond.
Apparently, X has been attacked for the 4th time today.
Yeah, it's back down again. Oh, so it's an attack.
That's what.
No, it's attack.
That's what they're
I
saying.
think it's attack, and could be.
Think it's the Canadians.
It could be the Canadians.
We're back.
Are we back again?
It just popped
Could
back
be the
up.
Canadians. It could be the Canadians and the Mexicans. Could be the Canadians, the Mexicans, and the Chinese. They believe that this could have been done by a nation.
Maybe it's that you remember that anonymous hacker group from a few years ago that they were responsible for everything that would go on, all the bad cyber crimes or whatever. Maybe it's them. Who knows?
You remember the movie The Interview that came out? Who was
With
it?
Seth Rogen and James Franco. Yes.
Wasn't it North Korea that did the cyber attack on, was it Sony? Sony Pictures?
Yes, because they did not want the movie to be released. Actually, a very funny movie. It was quite enjoyable.
And I would say it portrays Kim Jong-un in a pretty good light.
Yeah, he was very good at basketball in the movie. He was a big fan of Katy Perry's music. I'm trying to remember what else. Liked a lot of American stuff in that movie.
Most certainly.
Well, the reason we've got our laptops out, we've got our desktops, and we've got our phones out trying to figure out, back in the old days, we would look at the AP Wire to try to follow what's going on in the world, and now we basically use Twitter to make sure that we don't miss anything. And
it's off again.
Is it off again?
Yeah. It came on for a split second and then it shut back off.
Maybe there's been too much NFL news because I feel like that's all my timeline has been the last 36 hours or so. Maybe it's the Shield.
Well, and you talk about, you've got some knucklehead up in Canada who's
We're putting this on.
Huh? What?
We're putting this on Canada officially?
Well, no, you've got a dude.
That's bought in, Landrum.
No, this they call them premiers. I guess they're.
Okay.
Supposed to be
See what you're saying.
It would be a governor in the United States, a premier of a province.
Okay, gotcha.
Is saying that he's about to turn power off. Because there's some people in the United States that get their power from Canada because they're so close to the border.
Yes.
And he's saying because of the tariffs, he's about to cut all the power off.
Wasn't that going to affect the Canadians as well?
No, he's just going to cut off the grid. And no Americans are going to get their power.
Seems like a petty move there.
It says, if the United States escalates, I will not hesitate to shut the electricity off completely. Believe me when I say I don't want to do this.
Oh, yeah.
Well, then don't do it.
It seems pretty simple,
Yeah,
right?
I was about to say, if you don't want to do it, then don't do it. Don't threaten to do something and then say, I don't want to do it.
It's championship week. We're entering March Madness. You're going to cut these people's power?
Yeah. Maybe that's what it is. He's waiting until next Thursday and Friday. He's like, no March Madness for you.
I was just curious.
That'll cause some problems.
If you threaten no March Madness to me, there are things that I would probably cave in.
Oh, there's going to be a bunch of pitchforks crossing the border, I would imagine. Got to watch their basketball.
Oh no, it seems like the last two games before the IBOB, I could not get Auburn on my TV set because Kentucky game.
I was about to say one of those was Kentucky. They didn't want that.
The other one was bad
National
weather.
TV. True.
Because my internet was down and my DirecTV was out.
Bad weather will get it with that group.
And now he's sick.
Yep.
Bad trends.
Canadians, DirecTV, and Pine Straw.
There's a connection somewhere. We'll connect the dots.
Three public enemies of Pat here on this Monday morning. and backdoor covers.
Yes. That's the worst offender of all, I think.
205-834-9450. Vicky says it's Musk, not Canada, Pat.
What is, did he turn it off himself?
I don't know. Vicky's just saying it's Musk. It's not Canada. I just read them. Dave and Hoover, I was just wondering the other day about Russia and Ukraine, if Russia has plans to invade other countries in Europe, but if they were to attack Turkey, Saw what you did there, Dave. Glad I caught it. Conrad, you read that, right? Did you just finish the text that he sent?
I'm piecing it together in my head.
Yeah. I thought that was legitimate until I'm glad I checked up. Thomas says on Friday, you guys were talking about if Chris Beard went to Indiana, do you really think Ole Miss would bring Andy Kennedy back? Were you guys serious about this as a good possibility? Pat threw that out beginning of the show, tongue in cheek. He was not being serious. He says, I, being a UAB alum and fan, would be devastated and be afraid that we would be back to 500 basketball at best with the next coach. No, that was, if you did not detect that, sorry, Thomas, but Pat was kidding.
No, I said this would be a wild scenario. The wild scenario was either, Chris Beard takes the Indiana job, Andy Kennedy either goes back there, or Texas fires Terry, and then Chris Beard goes back to Texas. I was just having some fun with what-if scenarios. I do not want Andy to go anywhere. I want him to retire as the UAB head basketball coach. Do not want him to go anywhere.
I do think, regardless of who the candidates would actually be in reality, I do think that Ole Miss job, if that came up, that'd be an interesting job. Because it looks a lot better than it did a couple of years ago, but that's...
Well, I think all jobs look better
challenge.
now, especially the Southeastern Conference.
Well, yeah, no doubt.
This is coming in from Dwayne. He says, Auburn isn't dirty, but I had my face about CBM often. It's on Pearl, though. His behavior is predictable when it's about to happen. He needs to be reminded the name on the front is more important than the name on the back. Also, in my opinion, one thing that stops Auburn is Chad Baker-Mazara doing it at the end of a tight game or Broom's free throws.
Free throws were rough on both sides. Some big misses on both Auburn and Alabama.
Someone making reference to the Beavers comment.
Hopefully making a return later this week.
They don't like Beavers?
I think it was the way you described it.
No,
maybe.
yeah, I think it was the way you described it, saying that. Anyways.
What did I describe?
Oh, he was talking about you won't let the wet beaver go.
Landrum and I tried to catch the wet beaver.
You don't want to let one of those go.
They're a lot faster than they look.
They're slippery when wet.
Big teeth. Watch out for the teeth. That beaver will bite you.
They just ran away.
Going back to Conrad's secret Christmas gift that we have figured out would be perfect for him. They said, Conrad, they're getting you a shake weight.
I forgot about shake weights. I forgot about those. I got to get my workout in during the show.
Twitter's back again.
Yeah, for like 5 minutes.
Apparently, the sports bar in Alabaster was like a ghost town after Bama won. The Auburn fans vacated the premises fast. Someone reminding us, even though we won, I guess an Alabama fan, basketball still does not count. Roll Tide. And then over/under on alcoholic drinks consumed on Molly's trip is?
Ooh.
There were 9 girls.
So the entire group, not just Molly?
Molly did not drink, I'm sure.
No, I never do.
So she totally drank. 9 girls.
Okay, how many days were you? You were there
Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
Thursday night and then Friday. Saturday, we left on Sunday.
Okay, so.
And
Did y'all go to the package store or did you already have that before you?
No,
got
that was
there?
already taken care of.
And there were 9 of you?
Mm-hmm.
Was anybody mixing drinks on the way down?
Not in our car.
I'm going to put the over-under at 250.
250. I'll say over.
That would be about 8 drinks a day, 8 or 9 drinks a day per girl.
Did you have a lush in your
Thursday,
group?
Friday, Saturday.
That's a lot.
Was there one where you all were like, how is she still going?
The bride, maybe.
Really?
Yeah.
She got toe up?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, I mean, it's her trip.
That she won't remember now.
No, she remembers it.
Did y'all film her?
A couple times.
So you can embarrass her later on?
Of course.
So did someone go over your number? What'd you number you said?
I said around 250
You
for
said
the
250. That seems like a lot.
No, I meant per person.
lot.
That's what?
Yeah, like 8 or
drinks?
9 drinks a day.
Did you ever go over 8 or 9 drinks a day?
Maybe like throughout the whole day, but not like in one sitting.
Well, no, not one sitting. No, literally the entire
we
day.
said the whole day.
Yeah, over the course of the entire day.
Maybe like 7, 8.
What was your go-to?
I like a tequila soda. Or like a margarita.
Okay.
But,
Well, it also changes if you were drinking cocktails the whole time as opposed to
Right. Then it's different.
to beer. Yeah, that's
Mhm.
going to be a little different probably.
Did you play cards?
We did.
Drinking game, anything like that?
On Thursday.
Really? Okay.
Happy
Well-
batch.
Glad that you're back
Thank you.
in one piece and without a record that we know of. Somebody asking, why do you hate the text line, Pat? Are we not important enough? What is this coming from?
Thought Pat's been very. You said you were excited for the text. You said you love text.
Yeah. Don't be putting that on Pat. Posey said, how many boxes of wine? No box wine?
No,
You
no
fancied
box.
it up.
Did y'all have the bag?
No,
Slap the
no
bag?
bags either.
No.
Apparently, there was a brewery downtown, mostly Alabama fans, and they made it known. Wouldn't be surprised if the reaction to Mark Sears' game winner was heard at Toomer's Corner. Exciting way to finish a basketball game. Appreciate the text. And the text line that Pat loves. 205-834.
I love it. It's brought to you by Courtesy GMC. Why would I not love it?
9450-800-239-WJOX. We also have questions that Pat has come up with. We'll try to answer those, give you the latest when it comes to college basketball championship week and the NCAA tournament. Three-man front and Jocks 94.5.
It is 1:20, Jocks 94.5 on this Monday. Hope everybody's having a nice Monday. Elon Musk isn't. But, you know, it's first day of the week. Gets better from here.
Well, Elon, just look at your bank account. Feel better.
Yeah, he's fine.
Well, for flu, pollen, and allergy season, keep your home cleaner with Trane's Clean Effects Home Air Cleaner. It removes up to 99.9% of airborne particles, including those contributing to allergy and virus. Is proven to be more effective than standard and HEPA air filters. So go and contact a Trane certified dealer for the Clean Effects Air Cleaner.
So yesterday, the NFL, man, they were just handing out money left and right. It was crazy. First off, you got the Seahawks. They continued their offseason purge. They trade wideout DK Metcalf to Pittsburgh for a second-round pick. What's so crazy is who's going to be throwing the ball to him?
Got two really good wide receivers and no one to throw him a ball.
Yeah, so you got Metcalf and George Pickens, and not really sure who's going to throw the ball to him. Remember when Myles Garrett wanted out of Cleveland? I'm done with him.
Money changes everything.
It is. Agreed to a 4-year, $160 million contract extension. And then just when you thought it was going to be a nice, quiet evening, and then Josh Allen signs a new deal, 6 years, $330 million. That's a $250 million guaranteed.
Yep, $55 million a year.
That is
not too shabby.
Unbelievable. That is the most in NFL history. He's the reigning MVP, and he's still just 28 years old. And then I guess this means that Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers are officially departed.
Yep.
They're done.
Yeah. He signs a 2-year, $46 million deal with the Los Angeles Rams. LA has its answer now to Cooper Kupp, who is expected to move on.
And this morning you had the Panthers who signed J.C. Horn to a 4-year, $100 million contract. He is now the highest paid defensive back in the history of the NFL. So that's a common theme this offseason, is highest paid at every position that isn't quarterback, seemingly. And
well, just think about Max Crosby, 5 days ago?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's funny. Him and Myles Garrett were both in the similar situation of, I don't really know if we want to keep playing here. We'd kind of like to go and compete and try to win a Super Bowl. And then you see that contract and that dollar amount, and you go, you know what? Maybe Cleveland isn't so bad. Maybe Las Vegas isn't so bad.
So, Landro, I did have someone text in. I love the text line, by the way. Love it.
We knew you did.
Courtesy GMC text line, 205-834-9450. They texted in and wanted to know if you could give an update on the New York Yankees Detroit Tigers spring training score.
Let's see here. I will do my best.
I can.
Can we get some Major League Baseball music going here, please, to make this official?
Just hum something.
Come on. We will take you to spring training going on right now in the great state of Florida and also the great state of Arizona. The Yankees 7-7 right now in spring training action.
Who'd they lose to yesterday?
The Cardinals.
Cardinals won yesterday?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
They beat
the Yankees.
The Yankees. Mm-hmm. So the Yankees lost to the Cardinals yesterday.
They did.
It was an audition for Arenado. Him and Goldschmidt, hug each other before the game and
yes,
all that great stuff. That's
right now the Yankees leading the Tigers.
I have the broadcast pulled up.
Bottom of the fifth inning, 5-2, Yankees leading.
Yankees about to shock the world and have a catcher in the leadoff spot this year. Back-to-back games with a leadoff home run for Wells.
I'll be good.
Top of the fourth inning, tied at 2 between the Rays and the Braves. Houston leading Toronto 3-1 as they play in the bottom of the fifth, Conrad. And at the end of the fourth inning right now, it is Washington all over those fighting fish from Miami. 7-2.
And we just got more news from the NFL. The Seahawks, who got rid of Geno Smith last week, have now found their next quarterback. They just signed Sam Darnold to a 3-year contract. So the Seahawks get rid of Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, and Geno Smith and sign Sam Darnold.
Did you ever realize that Schefter is like Damian's height? Have you ever seen that?
Wow.
No clue until just right now.
Yeah, Dan Orlovsky's not doing him any favors standing right next to him. 3 years, $110 million. Okay,
that just shows you how great this country is when Sam Darnold.
I was about to say, that's like $36 million a year.
Oh my
37?
gosh.
Whew.
It's amazing.
Okay, well, I guess that also means Aaron Rodgers is maybe he is officially following the Brett Favre career path.
Minnesota?
This would definitely open up that path. Hey, I'm just saying, with Minnesota, if you got him, Justin Jefferson, they just re-signed Aaron Jones, you got TJ Hawkinson, you got Jordan Addison. I mean, we saw what they did with Sam Darnold. Like, they might be pretty good.
Now, I've not seen any odds, but is Pittsburgh still in the running for Aaron Rodgers?
I think it seems now the popular picks are going to be the Vikings and the Steelers. Yes.
Steelers making a charge. You might as well.
But the Steelers are also, at last check, still talking with Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. So they've got their hands in a lot of baskets right now.
Back to stuff that really matters. Another text. With all the injuries for the Yankees, this season may feel worse than 2023, I fear.
2023 was really rough.
As many negative texts as you can send in for the Yankees, please do so. 205-834-9450.
And Boone just signed an extension, right?
Yeah, Boone.
Yeah. Thank you for reminding me of that.
This one asks, going back to Damian's height, can you see Damian's feet in his driver's license pic?
I just like to imagine when he's sitting in one of these chairs here in the studio, his feet are just dangling. Sorry, Damien, we love you.
Or like at the barber, you have to use the foot pedal to pump him up to get to the microphone.
No, he has to put the box in the seat for him to sit on so he can go.
No, doesn't he do that when he drives? Didn't he put a phone book underneath it so he can drive?
Oh, gosh. Oh, man. That is wonderful. 205-834-9450.
I mean, that one camera angle they had, it was not doing Schefter any favors.
Oh gosh.
Now Tim Kirkjian, he's
even smaller.
He should ride a horse. I mean, he's that small.
What's he like, 5'3", 5'4"?
Yeah, I mean,
he's very
I have been at baseball games when ESPN used to air like baseball games.
Yeah, in the good old days.
And you'd be like on a Sunday night game. I remember being in Atlanta a couple times to watch the Braves and Cardinals on a Sunday night, and he would be doing a hit for SportsCenter. And I am not lying. They would literally have to stack 2 peach baskets or 2 peach crates that he'd have to stand up on. I mean, the dude is small.
I didn't realize.
Like he should be on TLC doing one of those shows.
Little People, Big World. That was a good show. That was a really good show. I was fascinated by that one. No, I don't do the two, the two
Wait, is that the one
morbidly obese sisters. I don't do that show.
Paige has watched that one before, and they'll be eating, and you'll just see a cockroach like climbing up the wall behind them on the TV show. And
I'm glad you guys got the reference.
Yeah, no, I
appreciate that.
I didn't realize Adam Schefter was almost 60 years old.
Wait, what?
Yep.
How old is he?
58.
Man, I would have put him at about 44.
Yeah.
Adam Schefter's 58?
Adam Schefter is 58 years old.
Oh, he's dying.
He was born in 1966.
He's definitely dying.
He does not give a height.
He looks good for 58. Wow, I would have.
That looks great for 58.
I would have never guessed that.
You think he colors his hair?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
That says no. What is all right? So Orlovsky's 6'5", but he looked like a good foot taller, maybe 2 feet. Than Schefter.
But I will say this, and Conrad's right. The one they were using a crane camera, and that angle that they were using made.
Because Orlovsky's, he's a big dude, right? Yeah, he's an NFL quarterback. So. Like he's a bigger guy, but.
This one coming in on the text line. Thank you for responding. Yankees won't even be first or second in the AL East this year.
Okay.
And Brad Chandler wants to know, where are y'all getting all this NFL news if Musk is down or X is down?
That's called pre-show prep.
That's right. We got all this information beforehand. We just couldn't leak it out until Schefter had his.
We get all our stuff from Pro Football Focus.
I'm more worried about that right now.
Oh, just don't look at it, Pat. It'll come back. It'll come back. I mean, were you going to cash out today?
Never know. With us going to potential fisticuffs with Canada.
Maybe physical medals are up today. Pat's got questions. We have answers. We have no idea what he's going to ask. That's what makes it so much fun. Pat Ponders on the way next.
That was a great show, by the way.
It was. I loved how they used to get up in their Sunday best just for dinner.
Yes.
Ward, Wally, June,
the Cleavers.
But Eddie Haskell.
Yeah, he was something else.
He was trouble. He
They don't even know what we're talking about.
He got Wally and a lot of stuff.
We all were talking about the show earlier, so I just thought you'd want to hear the song.
It's a great song. Have you ever watched the show?
No, I have not.
No?
You've never seen Leave It to Beaver?
No. I've heard about it a bunch of times.
What about Dennis the Menace? Did you ever watch Dennis the Menace?
Yes.
The original?
Yes.
The black and white version?
Maybe not.
What about Lassie?
Nope.
My
That's a dog.
three sons.
No.
The Munsters.
No.
Lassie's a dog, right?
Yeah. Happy Days. You said no on Andy Griffith's show.
Laverne and Shirley.
I've seen Andy Griffith's show.
That was one I hadn't seen.
No, not Laverne and Shirley. I've seen Andy Griffith. I've seen I Love Lucy. Gilligan's Island. I'm trying to think of what else. That's probably about it.
Gilligan's Island.
Never could get off that island.
No, and there were supposed to be some spinoffs that never happened.
What, Gilligan's Plateau? Or
Yeah, it was a whole
something
conspiracy
like
thing.
that?
I couldn't sleep one night. And yeah.
Remember, I had a Pat Ponders question about that.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Because in one of the original scenes of the opening of Gilligan's Island, if you count the number of people that was seen on the boat.
Oh, yeah.
So what happened? They throw somebody overboard before they got to the island?
It was a mutiny. You never know when you're on a boat that long.
Maybe that's what they ate when they got there. Or they found out that
Maybe
the island had all kinds of food.
You know, we had
It's a more morbid take on it, but perhaps.
Hey, we had Mary Ann on the Five Bomb show before.
Really?
Yes.
Did you like her or Ginger better?
I was always preferential to Mary Ann.
Yeah. More, you could take her home to the parents. Ginger was a little more.
A little more risque.
She threatened to fight Paul?
No, it was a good interview.
I just didn't know if that was a trend with celebrities on
Snyder.
the show. They just all tried to fight Paul.
That video. It's just.
She wore the same makeup that Dee Snyder did, though. No placenta. No, that we know of. 5 questions from Pat he's come up with. We'll try to answer. This is what we call Pat Ponders.
Brought to you by Courtesy GMC in Trustful. Visit their online inventory at courtesybirmingham.com. Now, this has to be updated because we just got this big story from the NFL about Darnold. But which NFL transaction over the weekend was the most shocking to you?
Definitely the Myles Garrett one, because that doesn't make sense on either side. Outside of the fact you're making $40 million, but you're Myles Garrett, you've been there. Is it really worth $40 million when you probably could have gotten $35 million from someone else to go and try to compete for a Super Bowl? And conversely, for the Browns, you need a lot of pieces to build that franchise back up, and now you're spending $40 million of that on, granted, one of the best, if not the best, defensive players in the NFL, but just seems like that money probably could have gone elsewhere. And if you're Myles Garrett, you probably could have gotten a similar return somewhere else and not been playing for the Browns.
Yeah, I was shocked. I don't know. I didn't see the whole, and I realized the history with our buddy Pete Carroll, but I did not see Geno Smith going to the Raiders.
I thought they would have gone another route.
Yeah,
too.
I would have thought so too. So it seems like the Raiders now maybe where you have been for quite some time. I don't know if Geno Smith's that guy.
See,
No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say Geno Smith or even just Darnold going to the Seahawks.
I guess Shadur's not going to Vegas now.
Guess
That was
not.
that was a popular rumor.
All right, question number 2. If your life was a sports movie, what would be the underdog moment that led to your big win? So I'm looking for that underdog moment.
Yeah, I mean, not to go all Michael Jordan here, but I had a similar thing. Obviously, I didn't turn out to be a professional athlete, but I, did make the baseball team my first year of junior varsity. And, we had this group of kids that growing up, like I know a lot of areas do, where the same kids play on All-Stars. You play travel ball together your whole time. And we got to junior varsity, and I was the only one out of this group that I'd played with my whole life that didn't make the team. And then, so whatever, I went through, got, worked extra hard that year and then made the team the next year. And that was all she wrote. So that was my cheesy underdog story, I guess.
Mine, I think I've told the story about the time I got a concussion from hitting my head on a girl's spine. Maybe.
I don't think I remember that story.
No, I don't remember that one.
Well, anyway, I think it was my junior year of high school. I think
it was the concussion coming back.
Probably.
Just can't remember.
Well, I was concussed because I was standing too close to someone during one of our routines, and I smacked my head on her spine, and I was concussed. Right, and it was like the week before one of our dance competitions. But unfortunately, I still had to compete. And the first dance that I competed was my solo, because in case something were to happen, I'd rather it be like during my solo and not like with the group. And I competed my solo and I still won. It's probably that.
Wow.
Did not feel good though.
My underdog moment would have been being raised and being brought up in the main streets of Metro Birmingham. Just the fact that
you grew up
get to school.
You grew. Let me back up here for a second. I want to make sure I get this right. You grew up on this side of the mountain, correct?
The mean streets, Pat.
Mean streets, as we call them. Yes.
On the side of Birmingham that you could look up and see a naked behind of Vulcan, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I was just making sure. I was confirming.
That was it. No, mine would have been actually the fact that I was able to get a passing grade in my math class in high school that allowed me to graduate, to go to college, and then earn a degree.
That's a good one.
That is a good one.
No kidding.
Pat's is a gambling
I still have
underdog
nightmares
story,
about
probably.
it.
Yeah, it is. It was when it was in the Mid-America Conference. It was a Tuesday night game. It was Bowling Green. I'm just kidding.
I was about to say, of course, it's a MAC game.
Actually, I want to go back to the first question of today. The first one that I asked. Which NFL transaction was the most shocking from the weekend? And I think Molly
I have a good one.
might have a good one here. Just happened.
This is
moments
just
ago.
breaking. The Jets are signing Justin Fields.
Wow.
Making him their new quarterback. It's a 2-year, $40 million deal.
It's a
2 years,
2-year,
$40 million?
$40 million? That'll be fine.
Justin Fields, you are a Jet.
Bears, Steelers, Jets.
Oh.
So does that mean that what are the Steelers doing now?
Aaron Rodgers, or maybe you pivot to Daniel Jones, or maybe you hope that Daniel Jones picks the Vikings.
Where's Russell Wilson going?
It'd be backup, maybe.
Yeah, I mean,
I think you throw all the money you can at Aaron Rodgers and hope that he stays healthy.
If you're going for 1 or 2 years, give me Aaron Rodgers over Russell Wilson, personally.
Or would you trade for Kirk Cousins?
No. Coming off an Achilles. And then he got hurt again last year. No. I think the upside for Rodgers is the highest still. I would love to imagine George Pickens and Aaron Rodgers having a conversation, though.
Let's just go
That'd
back
be pretty
to
entertaining.
Who was on the Steelers' original wish list, according to NFL insiders? Jalen Milroe.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, yeah. One of these guys would buy you a year or two for him before you had to play him.
All right, next question. For $5,000 cash.
Yes.
Okay. Would you wear women's clothing? You said yes.
Yeah, right. Let him do it.
That was not the question.
I was like, wow.
I was like, yeah.
Interesting question here.
Molly's like, that's easy for me. No problem. No, for $5,000 cash, would you wear a sports team's face paint to every public event for a month?
Not for 5,000.
No, it need to be more.
Like I'm just going out to eat dinner and I have to wear it?
Yes.
Well, I mean, you could really cut down on how often you went into public. You could kind of manipulate this a little bit.
I'd get lazy with the face paint. I'd be sleeping with it on. It'd be all dry and cracked.
Ugh.
$5,000.
I'm not doing that every day, Molly. So I don't envy you ladies who have to do the makeup every day.
Yeah.
I guess you don't have to, but
Just
choose to.
face paint, not a full body.
No,
Just
just
the
face paint.
For $5,000?
$5,000.
Yeah.
For a month?
For
No, I need
$5,000?
more.
You need more than $5,000?
Yeah.
Yeah, I need. If we're going a month, I need at least $10,000. That way, I know $500 a day.
Y'all are rich. I'll take the 5.
If I had
Done a lot worse for a
money
lot
to
less.
contribute to this, we could do it.
Yeah, if you want to,
I mean, I have it, but I
Put
I
together
just don't wanna
$5,000.
Tell my wife why I'm.
I'll do that. I will wear face paint every day on this show for a month for $5,000.
What about 2,500?
What if we told you it had to be orange and blue face paint?
No. You said our team. No. Not doing that. I'll do that for 10,000.
No, I said for $5,000 cash, would you wear a sports team's face paint to every public event for a month?
Oh, well. Okay.
The first time I
If
ever
I get to pick the
ever
sports
killed a
team.
deer, they bloody you, right?
Yeah.
And so they went over the top with me, and I got like a full face of the blood.
Oh.
And they made me go into the. I was like 10 years old. They made me go into the restaurant. We had to eat dinner with it all still on my face, and the
But you
cracking of the paint. Oh yeah, it was bad. Or not the paint; it was blood. But
Do you feel like a warrior, though?
of course I did.
Yeah, there you go.
So
Yeah, $5,000.
$5,000, you do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's make
All
it
right.
happen.
That's today's
You
Pat
have to shave your
Ponders.
face.
Yeah.
Okay. Paige would not be a fan of that.
Oh, really?
Let's put a big
I have a
paint and a
baby
big
face,
bullseye.
kinda.
Pat Potter's brought to you each and every day by Courtesy GMC. How about Courtesy GMC in March? Up to $7,750 off MSRP on the 2025 Sierra HDs in stock. Courtesy has SLTs, AT4s, Denali's in stock. Jocks listeners have taken full advantage of these incredible deals at Courtesy on these AT4X trucks. There's a few left, up to $11,000 off MSRP. Get by and see those fine folks at Courtesy GMC off of Exit 32. I-459, or visit their online inventory at courtesybirmingham.com.
We do have text coming in. Somebody said, sign me up for $7,500. Got to think about wearing that to church. We'll continue. Get to your text. Your phone calls are welcome as well. 3-man front continues here on your home for March Madness Championship Week and all other fun stuff. Jocks 94.5.
Just think next Monday at this time, we'll be debating on who did not get in the NCAA basketball tournament. The ones that got jilted. How many brackets you going to have in this year's challenge there, Conrad?
Well, for our challenge, only one. Because that's fair, right?
Molly had 2 last year.
Did you have 2?
Do I just go to our bracket page to open up?
Of course I did.
You should have gotten an email.
Yeah.
Oh, so we just have to, I assume, pay for if we want to have multiple
Sure.
entries.
Yeah, Damien does it every year.
We'll see. We'll see.
The suit puts in like 6 or 8.
Well, yeah, he wins every year.
Did
And
this-
we're one of his descendants. They have a great track record.
They're very good at picking.
Yes, they are.
All right, I'm in.
Is your wife in? Did your wife play last year?
She did. You want me to ask her to play?
Absolutely.
Her money's good too, right?
Absolutely.
I need to get Paige to do this because she had never done a bracket until 2 years ago, and she did it with like our friend group for the first time, and she won. First year she'd ever made a bracket, she won our group.
That's usually the way it goes.
I know. Oh, I know.
You need to get Dorothy, the whole NBC 13 crew to get involved.
Pat just wants to take more people's money.
Of course.
More the merrier. I did win last year. So
Oh,
I'm all
you're the
for
one who
You
won
won it last year?
I did.
How much did you win?
About $75,000.
Well, that's because you had Alabama winning the national championship last year.
No, I had UConn winning the national championship. I did not have Alabama going as far as they did. Because a lot of people, because history will tell you that teams just don't repeat. That just doesn't happen.
Very difficult.
But I went ahead and I just went all in on UConn, and it paid off.
See, this year's going to be interesting because, there's strategy to it, right? You would imagine a lot of the people we play with are going to have Auburn probably winning the bracket, maybe even a couple Alabamas in there. And so do you ride it out with a team like Auburn who's been so good this year, or do you try to go the different route just to maybe pick up some points here and there in the bracket, and it's more of a strategic play?
Well, I mean,
than
we
who you
brought
actually
this up
think would win.
earlier in the show. I mean, you had NC State came out of nowhere to get to the Final Four. The year before that, who was the Cinderella?
Who was it 2 years ago?
Was it UCLA?
Oh, was that when San Diego State and FAU, or was that
I think that was
the year before?
Yeah,
that?
it was the year before.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a wild year. Having those two teams in.
Oh, maybe 2 years ago. Was that when North Carolina was like the 9 seed and they went all the way to the national champion? It might have been that year.
Let's see. That would have been. Okay, so yeah, we had UConn, San Diego State, Miami, FAU in 2023.
Miami was.
That would have been that team. 2021 was a UCLA year where they were the 11 seed. Alabama fans, you'll remember that.
So 2 years ago, you had 3 teams kind of come out of nowhere and make the Final Four.
Yep. Trying to think. You also had Loyola Chicago back in 2018.
Yep.
As an 11 seed.
That's
You
Sister
had-
Jean, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
2017, Conrad, you mentioned them. Frank Martin and that South Carolina team out of the East
Yep.
as a 7 seed. You had in 2016 Syracuse as a 10 seed.
Ooh, I've forgotten about that.
Yep. And of course, who could forget 2008 when all number ones made it? Memphis had to vacate it, but North Carolina, UCLA, and Kansas. And
That's
Kansas
still
was
that
your
national
eventual
championship game is still one of the best games I've ever seen.
Hey,
Kansas and Memphis.
do you still have that on your phone for this year's bracket? Did you see the picture for this year's bracket challenge? Did you see that?
It's quite lovely.
The logo or something?
Oh, it's not.
We have fun here.
Golly, man. Why is it not letting me into my account?
You got to reset your password.
I do. Why do I have to do this? This is
Because
so
it's been a
annoying.
year since you've had to use
Contact pool manager. I'm contacting Pat Smith right now. Dadgummit. Let me into the site. I want to lose money. I can't remember my password. No, this is fun. It's an annual way to lose money, and I enjoy it.
Yeah.
Just show him the picture, Molly.
Yeah, just show me the picture, Molly. Dadgummit.
Can you see it from that far?
This is great riveting radio.
This is riveting. Landry forgot his contacts. He approves.
Do you approve of that picture?
He probably would.
Yeah.
It's a great photo.
I think that was several years ago where you got that one. Yep. Oh, warmer weather is here. Can't wait. We're getting like 70-something degrees every day this week.
It's going to be very nice.
It's going to be.
And then
And that
potentially
will
bad
make
weather
things,
this weekend.
well, that will make things smell outside. We're going to have the smelling challenge after the show one day this week.
I was about to say, you could sit it outside for the rest of the week, and it would get nice and toasty.
A little bit of Major League Baseball breaking news. The Dodgers are in agreement with Dave Roberts on a new contract. He will now be the highest paid manager in all of Major League Baseball.
Good old Uncle Dave. He deserves it.
$8 million a year.
Oh.
Just had to steal that base against the Yankees 21 years ago. I'll never forgive him for that.
I love Dave Roberts now. Paul Feinbaum is next.